Chapter 530. There was a distortion in space, and Wang Lan and the other four appeared in front of Di Lu. Bai Di and the others were panting heavily. Although they looked exhausted, they did not seem to be injured at all. This is impossible. Di Lu's expression changed greatly for the first time. That move was the strongest move Di Lu could use. He had once used this move to destroy a battleship. Although the humans in front of him were quite strong, they definitely could not survive an attack with his 5 attributes combined. It was as if he could beat them half to death with his fists and feet. Now that he had taken out his gun and shot at them, they were all immune? At this critical moment, Wang Lan had already determined that it was impossible for the Azure Supreme, the Arch, and the others to block this attack. The power of this attack was beyond their understanding. They would be completely vaporized by this attack, let alone block it. Therefore, Wang Lan decisively used the dance of the hell butterfly to appear in the middle of them. He did not care about anything else, grabbed the 4 of them, and teleported. Even Wang Lan was not sure if he had grabbed all of them when he teleported. Fortunately, after teleporting to Capital City, none of the 4 emperors were missing. Wang Lan actually had such a battle strategy. The Lotus Emperor and the others were stunned. The battlefield was in the desert. Demons could blow up as much as they wanted. If you were so capable, why don't you blow up Sky Blue Planet? Teleportation was Wang Lan's life-saving method when he had no other choice. It was also a method to save people. From Di Lu's point of view, Wang Lan and the others had all safely endured his full-force attack. However, in reality, they had run away and returned. On the other side, in the underground military research base in the Western Mountain Range, life scientists carefully cut open the Origin Stone. Then, they carefully took out the white-haired and skinny King Jiangshan, who was like a wooden stake, from the stone. The new Chindaijia is starting to recover. Injecting energy, not good, the cells are dying quickly. The death rate is extremely fast. Quick, Academician Wang Qi, prepare to inject the longevity elixir. The originally orderly rhythm was suddenly interrupted. No one had expected King Jiangshan to die so quickly after being unsealed from the Origin Stone. However, if one thought about it carefully, it was still being cleaned up. King Jiang had sealed himself in the Origin Stone because he had reached the end of his lifespan, just like a frog buried in a coal mine. Once it was unsealed, the previously interrupted death would immediately continue. Longevity elixir injection complete. Add auxiliary respiratory system. Insufficient blood supply from red blood cells. Hurry up and supplement blood supply. Insufficient nutrients. Hurry up and provide high-purity energy bars. Injectable ones. Damn, hurry up. In this critical situation, the refined professor was forced to start swearing. However, Yuryun nervously looked at the busy scene through the glass. There were too many things that Yuryun was worried about. She was worried about whether the king of Jiangshan could be saved. She was worried about how Wang Lan was doing and whether he had died in the battle. She was also worried about whether the king of Jiangshan would be incited by his uncles if he knew that the great Jade dynasty was gone and that it had become the Jade state. The signs of life have stabilized. New cells are being divided. The elixir is working. In the research room, the researchers looked at the data and were pleasantly surprised. To them, the success of the experiment and the results were what made them the happiest. As for the consequences, that was not something they considered. It's really unbelievable. Something that is completely impossible in theory actually succeeded. A white-haired scholar could not help but exclaim as he looked at the records of the instrument. The essence of the elixir is to edit the telomerase enzyme that synthesizes telomeres into genes. After human cells divide, the telomeres will no longer shorten. However, this can only be done when life is stable and has at least 3 months of life. However, the experimental sample is already on the verge of death. All the cells in its body are dying rapidly. In theory, it will die before the life elixir's telomerase takes effect. This is unbelievable. It's really incomprehensible. I can only say that the experimental sample is just a special case. Thump, thump, thump. A slow heartbeat sounded like the roar of an engine. Soon, the heartbeat began to beat faster and faster, but the intensity of the heartbeat gradually became smaller. All the indicators of the instruments began to rise and gradually showed normal. After that, the scientists removed some of the cumbersome instruments one after another. The king of Jiangshan was pushed out of the laboratory, leaving only the nutrients to be injected continuously. The king of Jiangshan's body was now like a dry sponge, crazily absorbing water. With the passage of time, a layer of pale white cuticle suddenly appeared on the king of Jiangshan's face. The cuticle became more and more obvious, as if it was detached from the skin. Wang Qi hesitated for a moment before picking up a pair of scissors to cut open the membrane. This was a layer of dead skin that the king of Jiangshan had shed. Previously, a large number of cells had died, and the dead cells would be rejected to the surface of the body. With the effect of telomerase, the cell's telomeres would recover, and the king of Jiangshan could divide into young cells again. Therefore, the dead and aged cells were quickly replaced by new cells, and the old cells formed a layer of skin on the surface of the body. However, it was clear that the king of Jiangshan's metabolism speed was beyond imagination. The group of scientists tore off the skin that was wrapped around the king of Jiangshan, revealing a brand new king of Jiangshan. The brand new king of Jiangshan's face had recovered its youth, and even his snow-white hair had turned black. Previously, the king of Jiangshan's appearance was like a 100-year-old man plus a mummy, but now, the king of Jiangshan had become an elegant young master. This fantasy scene happened in front of them, causing the group of scientists to exclaim in surprise. The nutrients absorbed by the king of Jiangshan could indeed be converted into cells in the body, and it could grow a skeleton into a normal body. But don't you need to convert? Don't you need time to convert? The human body is a very smart and logical instrument. Everything has a process. It's very unscientific for you to undergo such a huge change in just a few minutes. However, the truth was right in front of them. Even if it was unscientific, they could not dissect the king of Jiangshan to see what was going on. As the king of Jiangshan's body recovered, his body was suddenly wrapped in a layer of energy field. Sensing the energy field, Yurian hurriedly evacuated the surrounding scientists. These scientists were all ordinary people. If the king of Jiangshan's energy overflowed even a little, these ordinary scientists would have to meet God. Time passed by minute, and Yurian stared at the king of Jiangshan without blinking. Not long after, the king of Jiangshan's eyelids trembled slightly, and then he slowly opened his eyes. The king of Jiangshan, who had opened his eyes, was very confused. His mind was still in a blank state. After more than 10 seconds, his eyes regained their light, and he regained consciousness. The king of Jiangshan hurriedly sat up and looked at his palm. Then he touched his face. Could it be that I succeeded? The slim chance of survival that I caught was real? Descendant Yu Ruoyun greets the king of Jiangshan. Yu Ruoyun's clear voice rang out, interrupting the king of Jiangshan's contemplation. The king of Jiangshan looked over and frowned slightly. Yu Ruoyun's current attire was a little out of line with his aesthetics. Moreover, the style was a little similar to the attire of a foreign race, but it was also a little different. At least in the king of Jiangshan's memory, there was no foreign race that dressed like this. Most importantly, this girl said that she was a descendant. Are you the current princess or the current princess? Ancestor, in today's society, there is no, Your Highness, she is the second princess. General Nya hurriedly interrupted Yu Ruoyun's words. Right now, the most important thing was to let the king of Jiangshan defend against the enemy, and not to popularize some socialist values with him. Talking about socialism to an ancient person, wasn't this a joke? It's the princess. How long have I been asleep? Nearly 600 years. 600 years. How fast? The king of Jiangshan sighed softly. Ancestor, please save the Jade State and save the world. Yu Ruoyun hurriedly knelt and begged. The demons have come to slaughter our human race again. Oh, the demons have come? What's the situation now? The demon's army has yet to arrive, but a demon expert has come first. He is too strong and has already surpassed the number 1 expert of our human race by at least a realm. In the Western Desert, The human experts are currently resisting him, but they will soon be unable to stop him. Ancestor, please subdue the demons for the sake of the human race. The king of Jiangshan slightly closed his eyes and pondered for a few seconds before opening them again. There's indeed a relatively strong aura. Very good, very good. When this king was born, the demons had already retreated. When this king's lifespan was nearing its end, the demons had actually arrived. Yu Chongqing, was actually unable to subdue demons like my ancestors and leave behind an illustrious battle name. It is truly regretful. Who would have thought that after I woke up 600 years later, there would actually be demons coming to die in celebration? Wonderful, wonderful. Where are my clothes? The clothes are here. General Nia hurriedly brought the clothes over. Under Yu Ruiyun's service, the king of Jiangshan put on his clothes and casually draped his hair behind his head. He was once again an elegant and beautiful young man. Ruiyun, how old are you this year? Yu Ruiyun looked at the ancestor in astonishment, and her cheeks immediately blushed. What did the ancestor mean? Oh, what? Your cultivation is not ordinary, and you look young. I want to test your talent. After all, I know that some Takashi Hoshi techniques are useless and can only preserve one's looks. In this king's opinion, these Takashi Hoshi techniques are purely a waste, but there are some female Takashi Hoshi who like to cultivate. Oh, Ruiyun is 22 this year. 22 years old, and already half a step into the pinnacle. Your future achievements will not be below this king's. My royal family has produced another peerless genius after 600 years. Very good. Let's go. Follow this king to meet that demon. Under the guidance of the road ahead, the king of Jiangshan and Yu Ruiyun took the elevator to the surface. The king of Jiangshan was curious about everything in this world, but he could resist asking. As the king of Jiangshan, he could not ask questions like a child. He would wait until he had the chance in the future to understand what had happened in the past 600 years. How could there be so many novel things? In the king of Jiangshan's mind, there should not be such a big change in a short 600 years. In his era, even if he transmigrated to 500 or 600 years ago, there should not be much change in his living habits. When they reached the outside world, the king of Jiangshan grabbed Yu Ruiyun's arm and disappeared in front of everyone with a whoosh. At this moment, on the desert battlefield, Di Lu was still looking down at the 4 people lying on the ground like a god. These 4 people were not defeated by Di Lu, but by sheer exhaustion. Although Wang Lan was also very tired, he still resisted the wind and sand with great difficulty and was on the verge of collapse. I was just wondering how you guys managed to dodge my killing moves again and again. I thought that this king's killing moves were ineffective against you guys. So it was you who was messing around. I didn't expect the rare space-time attribute to appear. Then you really deserve to die. Chapter 531. Feeling Di Lu's killing intent, Wang Lan's expression changed. There were 2 choices in front of him. One was to teleport away with the 4 emperors. If he stayed, he would definitely die. As the saying goes, where there is life, there is hope. But if he escaped, Di Lu would definitely not let him go. The nearest city was only 200 kilometers away. What if he massacred the city to force him out? This Di Lu is really scary. During this time, Wang Lan had thought of no less than 1,000 ways, but he still couldn't find Di Lu's weakness. In theory, everyone had weaknesses, but Di Lu didn't have any. His battle awareness, his attack power, his defense, his speed, and his endurance were all so strong that Wang Lan felt despair. It was like asking a strong adult to fight with a kindergarten kid in hand-to-hand combat. How could Di Lu lose? How could Wang Lan win? The Zanpakuto was already broken. It was useless. Di Lu successfully dodged the strongest attack of the Zanpakuto and Hao Yang sword art. The second arrow of the astral god Arrow exploded in the air. He used all his methods, but it was all in vain. The 5 extreme fire art was powerful, but it couldn't even touch a hair of Di Lu's. He had never encountered such an unsolvable situation. If the next time the gate of the demon realm opened, it would be this level of trash. How could humans win? Wang Lan couldn't understand. How could the demons not destroy human civilization for nearly 10,000 years despite having such a powerhouse? This didn't make sense. With modern technology and current weapon systems, they couldn't do anything to Di Lu. How did the ancients do it? Just as Wang Lan was in despair, Di Lu slowly raised his finger. Instantly, an aura locked onto him. Wang Lan's heartstrings tightened. He knew that it was time to make a choice. To uphold the unyielding will of humans and die on the battlefield, or to retreat strategically with the four emperors. But no matter what, it wasn't what Wang Lan wanted. Suddenly, Di Lu stopped. He raised his head and looked into the distance. An inexplicable red light flashed in his bright red compound eyes. There are more experts? Di Lu suddenly pointed a finger at Wang Lan. Since more experts were coming, there was no time to waste. No matter what level they were at, Wang Lan had to die. Chi! A beam of white light shone like snow, and a beam of sword chi swept across the land. Di Lu's attack speed was extremely fast, arriving in front of Wang Lan in the blink of an eye. However, the other figure was even faster. Just as Wang Lan was about to dodge, he felt his vision blur, and the two figures appeared before him. Di Lu's attack disappeared like snow melting away. Wang Lan, are you okay? Yu Riyun hurried to Wang Lan's side to support Wang Lan. Her eyes were full of intense concern. Her eldest uncle, Qing Emperor Yuqing, was still lying dead not far from her feet. Ruoyun, why are you here? This is... Wang Lan stared straight at the back of the king of Jiangshan. What kind of elegance was this? He was wearing an ancient robe, and his clothes were whiter than snow. His black hair hung behind his head, and his long hair fluttered in the wind. He stood with his hands behind his back, looking graceful between heaven and earth. What kind of ethereal temperament was this? Although he did not see the appearance of the person in front of him, Wang Lan was sure that the appearance of the person in front of him must be shocking. To be able to appear at this time, and with such an imposing manner, Wang Lan could only come up with one guess after racking his brains. The country had released the king of Jiangshan. Only the king of Jiangshan could match the clothes on his body and the elegance of a sword immortal. Do you have a name? Di Lu's eyes became serious, and the aura around him was low and steady. Although he had not fought with the person in front of him, the person in front of him gave him an extraordinary feeling. The difference between Wang Lan's group of 5 and the person in front of him was like the difference between heaven and earth. Great Jade Dynasty, King of Jiangshan, Yu Changqing. Dark Knight Empire, Prince Di Lu. Please enlighten me. The King of Jiangshan cupped his fists and said slightly. As soon as he finished speaking, Di Lu's figure suddenly disappeared. At this moment, the King of Jiangshan attacked. He had no sword in his hand, but the sword was everywhere. A streak of sword energy was swung out, and a ripple appeared in the void. The sword energy seemed to have pierced into an alternate space. Boom! With a loud bang, the spatial ripple instantly spread out violently. On the back of the ripple, Di Lu's figure appeared strangely. His fist collided with the king of Jiangshan's sword energy. Boom! The sword energy exploded, and Di Lu's figure flew backward. It was also at this moment that the king of Jiangshan and Di Lu's figures disappeared at the same time. Wang Lan's group of 6 stood together, and all of them closed their eyes to sense the battle in front of them. Although they could sense the battle situation, the means of the two people's battle were not something they could understand. This was a lead-in level, just like a group of people who were only at the level of primary school students seeing a junior high school student's test paper. Although they could understand the meaning of the questions, they were confused as to how to do and solve them. It was also at this moment that Bai Di and the others deeply understood that they were really lucky to be able to live until now. If they had Di Lu's strength, not to mention the 4 of them, even if there were 40 or 400 of them, they would have been killed already. Moreover, they also realized that Di Lu's fighting style was too open and aboveboard, which gave this group of people who had used all kinds of strange and dangerous moves a chance of survival. If Wang Lan had Di Lu's strength, they would have been F** king killed long ago. King of Jiangshan's sword energy was like rain as he waved his hand. Although they were both using sword energy to defend against the enemy, Wang Lan clearly felt that there was an essential difference between it and his bright yang sword art. The bright yang sword art cultivated pure yang qi and nurtured the sword embryo Dao fruit. It walked the path of the sword energy's power to the extreme. The sword energy that King of Jiangshan used had a kind of Dao charm. With a wave of his hand, the sword energy was Dao, heaven and earth. In terms of realm, King of Jiangshan was ahead of the bright yang sword art. In terms of power, Wang Lan thought that the blue diamond-level bright yang sword art should be slightly stronger than King of Jiangshan sword energy. However, the strength of the sword energy had nothing to do with strength. The power of a cannon was definitely stronger than a gun. However, it was hard to say who would win if one person carried a cannon and the other carried a gun in a one-on-one battle. Gradually, King of Jiangshan gained the upper hand. Although Di Lu's attacks were still very sharp, Wang Lan and the others could feel that the rhythm of Di Lu's attacks was disrupted. No matter how Di Lu attacked, King of Jiangshan resolved it with a light sword. From the beginning, King of Jiangshan was drawing a prison. However, the prison he drew was not for himself, but for Di Lu. As the star power that could be mobilized in the void decreased, Di Lu also knew that the attacks he could launch were decreasing. However, King of Jiangshan was consistent from beginning to end. His cultivation had reached the realm of Dao, so he became the person who was closest to the immortal domain 600 years ago. One sword to settle the world. Suddenly, King of Jiangshan officially attacked. Previously, although King of Jiangshan had released countless sword energy, these sword energy were all casually waved by King of Jiangshan. However, this sword was infused with King of Jiangshan's essence, energy, and spirit. This sword was locked by the laws of heaven and earth. When this sword slashed out, Di Lu's figure suddenly paused. The aura around him was instantly released, and endless black smoke engulfed Di Lu. Two swords to settle the world. Qi, after King of Jiangshan slashed out one sword, he immediately slashed out another sword. If the first sword split the void and trapped Di Lu in the sword Dao domain, then the second sword was the law that gave this sword Dao domain. Di Lu seemed to be trapped in a cage. No matter how hard he jumped, he could not escape the seal of the sword Dao domain. Moreover, the endless sword Dao cut off all the power he could mobilize. It was like a bug that had fallen into a spider's web. No matter how hard he struggled, the spider's silk would constantly entangle and seal his strength. Then, it would gradually dissolve all his struggles and efforts. Three swords to break yin and yang. Qi, a sword light, suddenly rose from the sword Dao domain. It was as if the sword Dao domain had been divided into two, and in the middle of this division was the demon's divine warrior, Di Lu. Seeing this scene, Emperor Qing and the others, who were holding their breaths, could not help but heave a sigh of relief. It was over. King of Jiangshan had set up such a trap, and then split yin and yang with a sword. There was no doubt that Di Lu, who had no way out and no way out, would die. In King of Jiangshan's sword Dao domain, even if Di Lu had Wang Lan's spatial teleportation ability, it was useless. This was because the sword Dao domain had already formed a world of its own. Unless Di Lu had the ability to shatter space with his own strength, otherwise he would die without a doubt. A white light lit up heaven and earth, illuminating the space. In front of the satellite camera, the white light covered the entire field of vision. The sword light dissipated, and King of Jiangshan stood with his hands behind his back. A cool breeze danced, rolling up his black hair. And Di Lu stood in front of King of Jiangshan as before. At this moment, Di Lu had already returned to his previous form. Half of his face was human, and his face could also show rich expressions. Human, you are very strong, but you did not win. I did not win, but you are dead. King of Jiangshan did not understand why Di Lu said that he did not win. If you are dead, how can I not win? In the Earth Star realm, the ancient god's domain shrouded me. My strength was suppressed to only 1%, so you were able to defeat me. If it were not for the law suppression, you would not be my opponent at all. So, although you defeated me, you did not win. Is that so? King of Jiangshan smiled faintly. The battle between you and me was only a matter of life and death, not a matter of victory or defeat. That's true. It was only a matter of life and death, so you still won. I just want to tell you that I am a divine warrior of the God Clan. The divine warriors of the God Clan are definitely not as weak as you think. Although I am dead, the name of a divine warrior cannot be tarnished by me. The law suppression of the Earth Star realm is weakening, and in the near future, the law suppression will completely disappear. At that time, the divine warriors of my clan will let you have a taste of the true name of a divine warrior. I'm looking forward to it, but now you can die. Bang, bang, bang. As soon as he finished speaking, Dilu's body suddenly exploded as if a string of firecrackers had been set off. Clouds of powder exploded all over his body. Under the devastation of the sword energy, Dilu turned into flying ashes and disappeared into thin air. King of Jiangshan stood quietly in the distance, looked up at the sky, and let out a long sigh. It's over. Wang Lan let out a long sigh of relief. The gate to the demon realm had been closed, and the powerful Dilu had been killed. The demons should not be coming again in the near future. However, the space-time gem embedded with the spatial coordinates was still a hidden danger. As long as the space-time gem was still there, the demons could still come again. Woo, woo, woo. In the distance, the roar of a siren could be heard. More than 10 off-road vehicles sped over from afar. Are the people from the military coming to pick us up? Wang Lan asked in confusion. No. Yu Ruiyun's expression changed. It's the people from the Yu clan. Chapter 532. The king of Jiangshan was unfamiliar with the cars that drove here. If not for the fact that the king of Jiangshan was in a high position and had an extraordinary bearing, he would have thought that these cars were monsters that actually ate people into their stomachs. However, after seeing a ladder that could rise and fall automatically and a light that emitted bright light without fire, there was nothing unacceptable about these kinds of cars that ate people into their stomachs and then spat them out. More than 10 cars stopped, the doors opened, and dozens of people of different ages alighted. They were all wearing yellow clothes that symbolized the royal family and respectfully came to Yu Chongqing. Unfilial descendant Yu Changdong greets the ancestor. The descendant of the Yu family greets the ancestor. You're all descendants of the royal family? The current emperor didn't come? Yu Chongqing glanced at them and asked indifferently. Although the emperor was the son of heaven, it was understandable that he did not come personally to greet him. However, the king of Jiangshan was also extremely honorable 600 years ago. Later on, his nephew, the emperor, often came to kneel and greet him. Now that he had awakened after being in a deep sleep for 600 years, the current emperor should have come to meet him instead of personally coming to meet him. However, the king of Jiangshan was not angry. He had already transcended the mortal world 600 years ago, and he had long ignored the mortal world. Moreover, 600 years later, he was already an old man who had passed away. It was not a big deal to meet him. However, when he heard the king of Jiangshan's question, Urian's heart skipped a beat, and he thought to himself, this is bad. Old ancestor, you have to uphold justice for us. Ancestor, the great Jade dynasty no longer has a royal family. We've all been demoted to commoners, and there's no emperor in the world today. Ancestor, the treacherous officials are in power. They've already abolished the emperor. For 200 years, the imperial power has been vacant, and it's been controlled by the officials. The 3 people and 3 sentences instantly caused the king of Jiangshan's expression to change drastically. What? Are you serious? The king of Jiangshan's eyes were filled with killing intent. He could disregard the mortal world, and he could ignore the mortal world, but he could not ignore the situation of the royal family, and he could not ignore the common people in the world. The great Jade dynasty's rivers and mountains were fought for by his ancestors. As the great Jade dynasty's king of rivers and mountains, how could he watch with folded arms? Old ancestor, it's not like that. The great Jade dynasty has never disappeared. The imperial power is vacant because 200 years ago, The benevolent emperor personally ordered to abolish the position of the emperor and reorganize the cabinet. No one forced the emperor. It was a change made to conform to the general trend of the world. The wheel of history was constantly moving forward, and the centralized monarchy system could no longer adapt to the changing times. If the Jade State was careless and fell behind, it would fall behind others. It was a wise decision made by Emperor Renda, with his foresight, jumping out of the secular world and looking ahead for 1,000 years. Shut up. Ruoyun, are you still a member of the Yu family? You actually helped those traitors. Yu Zhangdong shouted with an ashen face. Although he could vaguely sense that Yu Riyun's interests were not aligned with the Yu family's interests, Yu Riyun could not help but feel that Yu Riyun's interests were not aligned with the Yu family's. However, Yu Riyun's birth meant that she had to consider things from the perspective of the Yu family. Furthermore, Yu Riyun was born in an environment where she wouldn't betray the Yu family. It was precisely because of this that Yu Zhangdong still believed in Yu Riyun despite his doubts. He didn't expect that the princess of the Yu family's direct descendant, the future head of the Yu family, would actually grow a red heart. This made Yu Zhangdong extremely furious. Old ancestor, Riyun is willing to be mentally engraved by you to find out the cause and effect. Old ancestor, please check my memories and don't be confused by my one-sided words. It's now the world 600 years later, and it's no longer the dynasty of the past. At first, the king of Jiangshan was still very angry. Even Yu Riyun's explanation didn't change the king of Jiangshan's thoughts. However, it was the last sentence that made the king of Jiangshan's anger dissipate instantly. It was now 600 years later, and he was just an ancient person who had already passed away. It was obviously inappropriate to judge a person 600 years later with the thoughts of 600 years ago. Since Yu Riyun was also his descendant and was willing to be mentally engraved, then he could take a look. Although there was no such thing as a mental engraving 600 years ago, the power system was still in the same vein. The king of Jiangshan had already jumped out of the system, and the so-called mental engraving could also be understood by analogy. The king of Jiangshan slapped Yu Riyun with his palm. Wang Lan was about to stop him, but Yu Qin grabbed him. Mental engraving was very dangerous. The person who was engraved would become an idiot if they were the slightest bit careless. However, if the engraver's skills were superb and the person being engraved was willing to cooperate, there wouldn't be any problems. Although Yu Riyun hadn't personally experienced the changes of the era and the changes of the dynasties in the past 600 years, she had seen and understood. What was the state of the Jade State 600 years ago? What was the standard of living of the people? Now, what was the standard of living of the people 600 years later? This was the true Great Harmony, the legendary Republic. The Republic was not a concept that was proposed in modern times. Instead, it was a political system that was proposed and determined thousands of years ago, even before the first dynasty was established. In ancient times, there was once a republic period. Perhaps this was the cycle of evolution. At that time, because of low productivity, the changes in the social structure were very slow, and an era of republic and co-governance appeared. Then, the monarchy replaced the republic period, and it continued for thousands of years as the main political system of human civilization. Now, it had entered the republic period, and the world was truly the world, and the people were the world. When the people in the world understood that they were part of the composition of the country, and knew that they should make decisions for themselves, any force or group above them would be shaken. No matter how strong the group was, it couldn't bear the constant shaking and would fall apart. Back then, Emperor Ren saw the essence ahead of time and decided to decisively reorganize the cabinet and delegate power to the world when the army of demons invaded. Just like a sentence in the abdication edict, from now on, no one can be above the people of the Jade State, and no one can talk about nobility with the people of the Jade State. We were born as human beings, and we should live for ourselves, for our families, and for our country. We shouldn't live for the emperor, but for the Lord. The devil race's army has arrived. Listen up, my great you. You are not fighting for me, not for the great Jade dynasty. You are fighting for yourselves, for your loved ones, and for the huaxia that has been passed down for thousands of years. Seeing this scene, Yu Changqing's expression changed. It was as if there was a ball of fire suppressed in his chest. He hated that he couldn't wake up so late. Why didn't he see the abdication edict that Emperor Rind read to the world at Tiananmen Square? What kind of breadth of mind was this to make such a decision? Letting go of her hand, Yu Riyun's consciousness was still a little blurry. King Jianshan stood with his hands behind his back, looking up at the sky. After a long time, King Jianshan let out a long sigh. You can go back. Grand Ancestor. Yu Zhangdong immediately panicked. They had deliberately released the king of Jianshan in hopes that he would lead them to restore the dynasty. But now, what did King Jianshan mean? Did he not care? There's no need to say more. Isn't the great Jade dynasty not destroyed? The current Jade state is the great Jade dynasty of the past. It's not that the great Jade dynasty is gone, but that your imperial power and wealth are gone. Now, the world is very good. The people live and work in peace, and the country is prosperous and strong. This was the long-cherished wish of the great ancestor. Since the world will be better under the leadership of the current system, why do you need a change? Let's leave it at that. Ruoyun. Yes. Follow me from now on. When this matter is over, bring me to a place to stay. Yes. King Jianshan left, leaving in an incomparably carefree manner. Number 1 and the other leaders of the country who were broadcasting through the satellite also breathed a sigh of relief. If King Jianshan really listened to Yu Zhangdong and the others and restored the dynasty, they really didn't know what to do. A powerful existence that no modern weapon could do anything to could really overthrow the regime of a country. Now, things were good. King Jianshan didn't want to care about the secular world, and Jade State had another super expert overseeing it. Their worries were gone, and they felt relaxed and happy. Quest to protect completed. Reward: 3 million experience points, 300,000 skill points. After King Jianshan left, a notification sounded in his mind. When the dust settled, Wang Lan, the Lotus Emperor, and the others also went back to report to Number 1. As for the group of people from a Yu family who stayed in the Sea of Constellations, they seemed to have turned into stone statues and stood still. They were full of calculations, but no one expected King Jianshan to suddenly see the light and quit. This was something they didn't expect. It wasn't that they underestimated King Jianshan's structure, but King Jianshan was an ancient person from 600 years ago. 600 years ago was the period when the idea of imperial power was deeply rooted. No matter how extraordinary King Jianshan was under the background of that era, how could he subconsciously transcend imperial power? In addition to the petition of their descendants, he should have led the many descendants of the dynasty to restore the great Jade dynasty. But King Jianshan just checked Yu Ruoyun's memories and left directly? Yu Ruoyun, she really doesn't deserve to be his son. After a long silence, Yu Zhangdong said resentfully. The group of Yu family members cursed as they got into the car and prepared to leave. What else could they do? Everyone had left. Was the vast expanse of yellow sand beautiful? Or was the terrifying pit in front of them spectacular? Mount Longhu, righteous sect. As the birthplace of Taoism, it was also the documented ancestor of Taoism. Although Taoism in the world believed in Laozi as the founder of Taoism, Taoism in the true sense was established from righteous sect. King Jianshan was on good terms with righteous sect's sect master 600 years ago. Now that 600 years had passed, the sea had turned into mulberry fields, and things had changed. Even the royal family had become commoners. The only ruins that King Jianshan was familiar with and could still see were Mount Longhu that he often visited in the past. With King Jianshan's identity and Yu Ruiyun's face, Mount Longhu naturally welcomed him. In addition, Mount Longhu was a peaceful place for Taoism, so it was a good place to stay. Old ancestor, can you be considered to have obtained immortality now? Yu Ruiyun asked curiously as she looked at King Jianshan, who was standing in the courtyard and looking up at the sky. Success is due to the wind and clouds, and failure is also due to the wind and clouds. Although I obtained the opportunity to return to my youth after 600 years, I also lost the opportunity to truly seek immortality and Tao and the fate of immortality. There must be a cause and effect for every drink and peck. Although I'm unwilling, this cause and effect is good for me. If it wasn't for the elixir of immortality that you mentioned, I would have already died. Now that I'm able to live another life, it's already an opportunity. It's a pity that I'm so close to becoming an immortal, but I don't have this life. Chapter 533. My condolences, old ancestor. It's my fortune if I get it, and it's my fate if I don't. Being able to live another life is also my fortune. Back then, I lived for the sake of becoming an immortal. I lived for 100 years, but I spent half of my life in secluded cultivation. Now that the path to immortality has been severed, it's time to find a new way to live. Old ancestor, you must be joking. Although you can't become an immortal, you have been injected with the longevity medicine. Wouldn't you be able to live forever and have a lifespan as long as the heavens? What's the difference between that and becoming an immortal? Yu Ruiyun asked nervously. Normally, people who had reached the pinnacle would still be at the pinnacle even if they changed their way of life. Previously, King Zheng River had wholeheartedly pursued the immortal Tao, so he was dismissive of fame and fortune. Now that the immortal path had been severed, he was only afraid that the king of Jiangshui would no longer pursue the immortal path, but would instead pursue the imperial dynasty. Longevity? Ha! The king of Jiangshan laughed out loud. You can't be thinking that I can live forever just because I injected myself with some potion, right? How could the wonders of life be so simple? I merely relied on the divine medicine to live for another lifetime. Even if this potion can stop me from aging, but if I want to live forever, I can't go against heaven's will. Using medicine to prolong my life means that I owe the heavenly Tao a huge karma. What I owe must be repaid. If I can't pay it back, the heavens and earth have ways to take my life. This was the law of the heavenly Tao. There was no such thing as a free lunch, and there was no such thing as a free lunch. When I woke up this time, I more or less knew my mission. Originally, I thought that when I intercepted the heavenly secrets 600 years ago, it was because my cultivation had reached a certain level that I could intercept fate from the river of destiny. After waking up this time, I borrowed the opportunity of rebirth to break through the door of life and death, and my cultivation improved. However, even though my cultivation improved, I couldn't even see the river of destiny. Do you know why? This, ancestor, I don't even know what the river of destiny is. Forget it. If I don't know, then so be it. My cultivation base has increased greatly, but I can't even see the river of destiny. There can only be one explanation. Back then, when I saw the river of destiny, I didn't intercept the heavenly secrets. Instead, it was given to me by the heavenly Tao. Otherwise, I really can't explain why that origin stone just happened to appear not long after I intercepted the heavenly secret. All of this was arranged by the heavenly Tao so that I could live until now. The human race was becoming better and better, richer and stronger, but the human race's strength was indeed declining. Humans are too weak now. The heavenly Tao needs me to live to this era. It needs me to guard this era. Yu Ruiyun's eyes lit up. Old ancestor, you mean this is my mission? Although I don't know the status of the self-proclaimed demon warrior among the demons. Since he was so proud of his identity, he must be an expert among the demons. From this, he could roughly estimate the strength of the demons. There shouldn't be many of such experts among the demons, but there are still quite a few of them. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have been able to stop them. Indeed, I can't. When you're free, you can stay by my side. I'll personally guide you in your cultivation. I alone might not be able to guard this era. By the way, I've already learned how to send prestige emoticons. What other fun uses are there? Can you teach me? Ancestor, you're really smart. How did you learn it so quickly? How about I teach you how to post on your WeChat moments? You can share your life's dynamics and insights with everyone. After the crisis of the demon's invasion was resolved, the sword hanging over the world's head disappeared. But in reality, if the space-time gem marked with spatial coordinates was not resolved, the demons could come again at any time. Facts have proven that it's not only us who can open the space-time gem to allow the demon's army to come, but the demons also have the ability to open the space-time tunnel. This way, the demon's invasion is basically set in stone and cannot be changed. At the International Security Summit, President Chuan of the White Eagle Nation spoke passionately. And then, are we going to prepare for war? He coldly retorted, even if the demon's invasion is unavoidable, we still have to minimize the damage. Didn't the Jade State do a good job this time? When the demons came, they were all wiped out in the no man's land. In the end, they could only close the space-time tunnel. This shows that our strength is enough to launch an effective counterattack. Don't be blindly confident. The demons that appeared later almost single-handedly overturned the entire world. If it wasn't for the Jade State hiding such a strong person, he wouldn't have been able to run rampant in Sky Blue. But it's a pity that we don't have more people like the one that appeared in Jade State, and the demons may have more. The next time the demons come, there may be more people like that. If they had so many people like that, humanity would have been wiped out a long time ago. I say, everyone, aren't we talking about the wrong thing? Number 1 lightly tapped the table and said, this time, we are summarizing the methods of the demon's invasion and how to minimize the losses under the premise that the demons will definitely come. We're not arguing about our own guesses here. Is there a need to discuss the methods of the demon's invasion? We activate the gate of the demon realm here, and they open the gate of the demon realm there. It's as simple as opening the same door inside and outside the house. No, you need a key to open the door. If the key is lost, the door can't be opened. It's obvious that activating the gate of the demon realm on Sky Blue is not as simple as just activating it. We now know that the demons buried 12 space-time gems on Sky Blue, and we found 2 of them. Each space-time gem can only be used to open the gate of space, so there must be an accurate coordinate in the demon realm to open the gate of space. Similarly, if the demons want to open the gate of space to the human world, they must set the coordinates here. Now that we know the coordinates are on the second space-time gem, as long as the space-time gem is still there, the demons can come at any time. What do we do? Destroy it. What else can we do? I'm sorry, but we gathered the best scientists in the country, including the best professors in physics, material science, energy science, and other fields to conduct research and experiments for a year and a half. The space-time gem is indestructible. They even determined that even if the space-time gem was in the center of a nuclear explosion, it wouldn't be damaged at all. It's been proven that it was always in the center of the explosion, but we just found it, and it's still intact. My God, what kind of scary material is this? It might not be a material that we know of. It might even be made of quark-level material. If that's the case, then I'm sorry, but with our current level of technology, we can't destroy it. If a nuclear bomb can destroy the demon's warship, why don't we throw the space-time gem into the sun? A country's leader raised his hand and suggested, No. The sun is our future energy source and our most precious thing. What if the demons destroy the sun? Destroy the sun? If they have that ability, I'm willing to call them gods. Would they still be killed by a nuclear bomb? But the sun is too mild. Our nuclear bombs release fission energy in an instant, but the sun is mild, slow, and continuous fusion. It's not the same. What a nuclear bomb can destroy, the sun may not be able to destroy. But the sun is not as simple as its high temperature and released energy. It also has the environment and gravity. If the demons can survive on the sun, then we can only admit that destruction is our fate. There's nothing more to say. Why not choose a neutron star? Wouldn't it be safer to throw it on a neutron star? I bet you didn't pay attention in class, you idiot. Tell me, how far is the nearest neutron star from Sky Blue? How long do you think it will take for us to send the space-time gem there? Also, even if we successfully send it there, do you think our spacecraft will be able to enter the neutron star's orbit? The sun is the only star that we can touch with our current level of technology. Then, does anyone have any objections to this suggestion of sending the space-time gem to the sun? Agree. Then, the next topic is the coverage of the space-time gem detector. Jade State has already developed the space-time gem detector, which covers a radius of 3 kilometers. The second space-time gem was discovered in time thanks to the space-time gem detector. This is good stuff. There's no need to discuss it, right? Our goal is to cover the whole world, even in no man's land. Agree. Our country also needs the space-time gem detector. No. Everyone misunderstood. The purpose of this discussion is not the necessity of covering the space-time gem detector, but the price. What? You want money? What? You want us to give it to you for free? The Global Security Summit was in full swing. Wang Lan and Jiang Xinyu returned to their school life, and it was almost the end of the first semester of their third year. Although it felt like they didn't go to school much this semester. They were either exploring space in the Cloud Sea or going to the Northwest. It was quite busy. However, for the two outstanding students, Wang Lan and Jiang Xinyu, Shanghai Cebu Gakuen gave them the green light all the way, and they got full marks in all their subjects. If the two of them wanted to graduate early, the school would give them a graduation certificate on the spot. Half a month passed unknowingly, and the two of them didn't have any missions. They had been checking in at the school in Phoenix Square. Under Wang Lan's guidance, Jiang Xinyu's cultivation ushered in the nth time of explosive growth. Although she was still in the early stage of the astral sea realm, her strength was faintly showing signs of reaching the late stage. On this day, the sun was shining brightly, but the sudden northern wind was a little cold. The climate in the south was so strange. It was obviously quite hot yesterday, but it suddenly cooled down. After receiving a notice from the school, the two of them went to D. Lau's office. "Dean, you're looking for us?" "Yes, come in and take a seat. Take a look at these two documents." After taking the documents from D. Lau, Wang Lan quickly scanned through them. "The International Security Committee Recruitment Assessment?" "Yes. Are you interested in participating?" D. Lau asked gently with a kind smile on his face. "This doesn't seem to be of interest, right? I'm already a major general in the Heavenly Sword Bureau, and Xinyu is already a senior captain. In the future, we'll be working in the Heavenly Sword Bureau. Why would we go to the International Security Committee?" The International Security Committee belongs to the United Nations, and it's the strongest secret service of the United Nations. Their rank is also universal. You're a major general in the Jade State, but not in other countries. However, as long as you're a member of the United Nations, your rank in the International Security Committee must be recognized. Chapter 534. "Dean, you mean you want us to go?" Wang Lan asked hesitantly. D. Lau's hint was so obvious that Wang Lan naturally understood it. "For you, one is a major general of the Jade State, and the other is a captain. Both of you have reached the Star Sea realm, especially Wang Lan. You are already an internationally recognized titled expert. There is no need for you to join the International Security Committee. However, the certificate of the International Security Committee is necessary for you. If you pass the test, you will be able to obtain a special agent certificate from the International Security Committee. This way, you won't need a visa to travel to any country in the world. It will be more convenient for you if you have any overseas missions. Another thing is, the demons have been moving frequently in recent years. Our previous calculation of 30 years might have been too optimistic. The demons could actually come at any time, and an all-out war could break out at any time. As for mainstays like you, your battlefield should be in the world battlefield. I think you should participate in the test. Of course, it is up to you. If you don't want to, it is fine. I am willing. Just take it as a vacation abroad." Wang Lan smiled and spread his hands. It was not that Wang Lan was arrogant. With his strength, passing the test was not a problem at all. This was a victory for him. "Good. I will register for you too. The test should be around the new year. It is near the equator, so it is summer there. You will be on vacation for these 2 months. There is nothing the school can teach you. Is there no mission? Ordinary missions do not require experts of your level. Even Xinyu is the same. After breaking through to the Star Sea realm, the rest is not to improve Takashi Hoshi's level. Instead, it is to consolidate your cultivation and increase your strength." "Okay. Thank you, Dean." The two came out of D. Lau's office. After a slight hesitation, They skipped class and went home. Since Di Lao said that they would be on vacation, there was no need for them to clock in at school. In the current environment, it seemed that the whole world was busy. Only Wang Lan and Di Lao had some leisure time. The demons had almost come twice. The nerves of the whole world were very tense. Military factories all over the world were operating at full capacity. The Jade State's space-time gem detector was also being produced and installed all over the world. Although he could not see it clearly, Wang Lan could feel that the pace of the world was accelerating. Why don't we go back to Sioux City? Jiang Xinyu leaned against Wang Lan's chest and suddenly said, "Go back to Sioux City. Now that you mention it, it seems like we haven't been back for almost a year." "No problem. I'll listen to you." Jiang Xinyu got up and went to the bathroom to take a shower. Then she changed her clothes. At this time, Wang Lan had already put on his clothes. He sat on the sofa and instructed Xiao AI to clean the house regularly and open the windows regularly for ventilation. "Should we drive back, or do you want to teleport back?" "Let's drive." Previously, I didn't understand how precious the power of space was. Later on, when I wanted to use it, I couldn't. This time, I finally filled it up with great difficulty. In order to buy time, I used up more than half of it. If it's not necessary, don't use teleportation anymore. Because it was not a holiday, and they had missed the peak period, the journey back to Sioux City was smooth. After arriving in Sioux City, Jiang Xinyu kissed Wang Lan. Then, she grabbed Wang Lan's car and drove home. She did not even invite Wang Lan to go with her. He suddenly realized that in the past, Wang Lan often went to Jiang Xinyu's house. However, ever since he established a relationship with Jiang Xinyu, the number of times he went there could be counted on one hand. His aunt and Jia Jia were not in Sioux City. Su Xiangwen and the others were doing their internships. In the entire Sioux City, only the brothers in the Heavenly Sword Bureau knew Hu Qing. Due to the changes in the environment, it seemed that the Heavenly Sword Bureau in the country was quite busy. Wang Lan thought about it and decided not to disturb the Heavenly Sword Bureau. Instead, he called Hu Qing. Hu Qing was very surprised to receive Wang Lan's call. "Major General Wang." "No, I should call you Greedy Wolf. You're a busy man. Why are you suddenly calling me?" "I'm so flattered." "If you say that, I'm hanging up." No. I'm joking. Why are you calling me?" "Nothing. I'm back in Sioux City. I'm bored." "Bored? That's great. Let's go. I'll treat you to a drink." "Aren't you at work? Aren't you busy?" "Busy my ass. I'm bored out of my mind." After the Heavenly Sword Bureau expanded, the deterrent force was enough to make the little ghosts tremble. "Without any cases, we have nothing to do. Let's meet somewhere. We haven't seen each other in a long time. Let's go for a drink." "Okay." In the past, Wang Lan couldn't drink. He would get drunk after one glass. However, as his cultivation level increased, his alcohol tolerance also increased. This should have something to do with improving his physical fitness. Becoming a Takashi Hoshi could prevent people who were allergic to alcohol from being allergic to it. Naturally, people with poor alcohol tolerance would slowly develop a resistance to it. In the Rome and Plaza, Wang Lan and Hu Qing ordered some good dishes and 2 bottles of good wine. The two of them drank a little, and the chatterbox opened just like that. "I knew that your future was immeasurable, but I didn't expect you to be so freakish. You're only 20 years old, and you're already a titled battle pet warrior. If you don't count the 5 emperors, you're already at the peak of all Takashi Hoshi. Actually, it's not that bad for me. Sometimes when I look back and think about it, I'm still scared. What I've been through. It's a long story. Come, let's have a drink. By the way, Hu Qing, how about you? We haven't sat together and talked for a long time, right? It's been more than 2 years since I went to university. What else can I do? The foundation you laid back then is there. Sioux City's underworld was almost wiped out before you graduated. With the merits you gave me, I managed to become a deputy director. That's good enough. When the director retires in a few years, I'll be at the top. Your child should be 3 years old, right? Yes, he's 3 years old. He's very naughty and is spoiled by his mother. I can't do anything about it. You're amazing. You've only known Sister Ling for 3 years, and your child is already 3 years old. You're very efficient. Don't make fun of me. That was an accident. I planned to have a child after 3 years of marriage, but I didn't expect it to be a shotgun marriage. Fei is in middle school now. She's been sad for a long time after Jejia left. She's become quiet and introverted. That can't be helped. What's Fei's rank now? Hu Qing raised his glass and took a sip. Star blazing the peak. Oh, so fast. Fei's specialty is star power. After the star power extraction technique was popularized, her rank shot up like an airplane. She broke through star blazing during the summer break in the 5th grade. She reached the late stage of star blazing in the 1st year of middle school. Although I'm Nebula now, I might not be your match in a real fight. Star blazing at the peak can barely beat Nebula. Wang Lan said thoughtfully. Hu Qing's cheeks hurt. Hey, don't hit me in the face like that. I'm at the peak of Nebula. Huh? You're at the peak of Nebula at your age? That's not scientific. Not scientific, my ass. I'm only 28 years old this year. I'm at least 7 years away from the peak. I can break through to the galaxy realm in these 7 years. Don't look down on me. Yes. Come, let's go. After a little drinking and chatting, Wang Lan's sudden emptiness and loneliness were dispelled. By the time they left at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, Wang Lan's mood had returned to normal. People would suddenly feel emotional. Most of them had nothing better to do. When he got home, he leaned on the sofa and watched TV. Before he knew it, the sky had turned dark. Suddenly, the elevator door opened. Jiang Xinyu had unexpectedly arrived. Wang Lan stared blankly at Jiang Xinyu as she walked out of the elevator. Didn't you go home? Why are you back? I'm not used to living at home, so I found an excuse to sneak out after dinner. Hearing this reason, Wang Lan's mouth couldn't help but twitch. Not used to living at home? Was this even human? Jiang Xinyu suddenly raised her nose and frowned. Did you drink? Yes. After you left, Hu Qing and I went out for a meal. Do you still smell? I'll use my qi to force it out. No. I thought you couldn't get drunk after 1 glass. How long ago was that? What level was I at then? I'm a Star Sea Realm expert now. Is it appropriate for me to get drunk after 1 glass? Looks like it did affect you a little. Jiang Xinyu smiled faintly. Speaking of which, aren't you worried that you're living at home? Or does Uncle Jiang already know that we're living together? I didn't say anything. You should have guessed it, right? When I went out, I said that I wouldn't be coming back tonight. Mom and Dad just said, oh, and didn't ask. Sigh. Looks like I have to find a time to visit. Otherwise, Uncle Jiang will have something to say. No, there's no need. Jiang Xinyu was a little shy. Her tone was a little stiff. I was going to order takeout. Since you're here, let's go out and eat. I've already had dinner. Just treat it as keeping me company. Takashi Hoshi won't get fat anyway. Okay. Wang Lan got up to change his clothes. Just as he was about to leave, his phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hello? Guess who I am? It was a clear and pure girl's voice. Hearing this voice, Jiang Xinyu froze in place as if a spell had been cast on her. Is this Fei? Wang Lan's smile was a little stiff. Yes. This is my phone. I heard from my brother that you're back. Yeah. I had lunch with your brother at noon. Brother Lan, you didn't even come to see me when you're back. Brother Lan, can I come to see you tomorrow during the school holidays? I have some questions about my cultivation that I want to ask you. Tomorrow, no problem. I just wanted to test your cultivation progress. If your performance is good, I have a reward. Come to the Heavenly Sword Bureau tomorrow morning. There's a training ground there. It's quite suitable. Oh, okay. See you tomorrow, Brother Lan. Okay. After hanging up, Wang Lan smiled at Jiang Xinyu. Fei wants me to guide her cultivation. Jiang Xinyu looked thoughtful. Fei isn't a child anymore. She should be 13 years old, right? Yeah. Isn't 13 years old child? To us, she is, but to her, she's not young anymore. At 13 years old, her mind is already very mature. Don't you think that Fei's attachment to you is a little strong? Yeah. Wang Lan nodded and admitted frankly. I saved her life back then. To her, I'm the person who gave her a second chance at life. It's normal for her to be attached to me. I'm afraid it's not just attachment. I understand your concern, but she's only 13 years old now. Although she's gradually maturing, she's still a child. When she's a little older, she should be able to tell. Let's go. Okay. Chapter 535. The next day, Wang Lan brought Hu Feifei to the Heavenly Sword Bureau. Naturally, he had to greet his brothers from the Heavenly Sword Bureau. Apart from Su Shiyun and a few others who used to be close to him, the rest of the brothers were obviously in awe of Wang Lan. After all, Wang Lan was now a titled expert. His status was there for all to see. Hu Feifei had already grown into a slender and elegant girl with short hair. The short hair didn't hide her beauty as a woman. Instead, it added a sense of heroism to her. Hu Feifei grew very quickly. She was already 6 meters tall at the age of 13. If it weren't for the childishness on her face, it would be impossible to tell that she was still a child from her back. After Jiang Sinyu's reminder yesterday, Wang Lan already felt that Hu Feifei's feelings for him seemed to have gone a little overboard. Thus, Wang Lan didn't dare to show any obvious affection to Hu Feifei. Instead, he sternly pointed out Hu Feifei's shortcomings in battle. However, even if Wang Lan judged Hu Feifei with a nitpicking gaze, she was still so perfect that Wang Lan couldn't find much fault with her. Hu Feifei was now at the peak of star blazing, but she was much stronger than Wang Lan back then. Bone hardening gave Hu Feifei unparalleled defense, attack, strength, and self-healing abilities. In addition, Hu Feifei had extraordinary astral power and was skilled in using Takashi Hoshi skills. Wang Lan estimated that she could win even if she went to the intermediate trial alone. Wang Lan couldn't say anything against his will. He could only admit that Hu Feifei had worked very hard all these years and was extremely talented. Thus, Wang Lan gave the A-rank Takashi Hoshi Thundersnake skill to Hu Feifei as a reward. Wang Lan could have taught Hu Feifei the Nebula Sword Dance and Crescent Moon Arrows. Both of these were Takashi Hoshi skills that could change one's form. However, Hu Feifei was not good at fighting with weapons. She had inherited the advantage of Hu Qing's fist techniques. On the other hand, the Crescent Moon Arrow and her finger bone spear had a slight overlap, so there was no need to waste time on the overlapping Takashi Hoshi skill. After training Hu Feifei for an entire day, Wang Lan's expression finally melted under Hu Feifei's sad gaze. In the end, Wang Lan could not harden his heart to say goodbye. Being cold and heartless was not Wang Lan's setting. In the end, he reached out and tapped Hu Feifei's forehead. "You did well. You're better than your brother. In 10 years, I'll be waiting for you at the peak. You must come." Only then did Hu Feifei's sorrow turn into joy, and she seriously made a 10-year promise with Wang Lan. The peak that Wang Lan spoke of wasn't the peak of the Starsea realm, but rather the peak of the absolute experts that Wang Lan was currently at. 10 years later, Hu Feifei would be 23 years old. After sending Hu Feifei home, Wang Lan went straight home. He saw Jiang Sinyu sitting on the sofa, bored to death, watching television. "Do you have plans for tonight?" "I don't think so. Why don't we go watch a movie?" Wang Lan suggested. The movies nowadays are all anti-demon dramas. We didn't do anything to demons in real life, but in the movies, we exterminated demons thousands of times. If only demons were as stupid as they are in the movies. Why don't you say that if human Takashi Hoshi had a movie setting where the main character would never die? Isn't that you? I think you fit the movie's setting perfectly. Wang Lan, there's a joke about you on the internet recently. I don't know which busybody made it up. What? Wang Lan with mediocre combat power. Mediocre combat power? Which guy said that? I'm actually called mediocre combat power? Wang Lan couldn't take it anymore. With his strength, who among the younger generation could compete with him? He was already the strongest person below the 5 emperors. According to the country's official titled experts illustrated handbook, Wang Lan, titled Greedy Wolf, is the youngest titled expert in the Jade State. He is a full attribute Takashi Hoshi with multiple Super S rank Takashi Hoshi skills. He has a variety of fighting styles, including fast attacks and area of effect attacks. Wherever he goes, demons will throw away their armor and leave corpses strewn everywhere. Attack, 5 stars. Defense, 6 stars. Astral Energy Reserve, 5 stars. Growth, 7 stars. Survivability, 7 stars. According to the evaluation, Greedy Wolf, is actually a defensive Takashi Hoshi. His survivability is extraordinary, but his combat power is mediocre. Cough, cough, cough. Wang Lan was too tired to complain. However, the officials weren't wrong. Even if Wang Lan's strength was nothing compared to the demon Di Lu couldn't kill Wang Lan. Wang Lan's life-saving skills were almost invincible. In comparison, his combat power was mediocre. By the way, what did you say about the program tonight? Do you want to go watch the Takashi Hoshi tournament? The Takashi Hoshi tournament? It hasn't ended yet. It's been revised. Since last year, the Takashi Hoshi tournament has been held in October every year. The tournament lasts for 2 months. Right now, it's the top 6. Do you want to go? It's starting soon, right? The tickets have been sold out a long time ago. Wang Lan was a little tempted. The Takashi Hoshi tournament was the beginning of his rise. Have you forgotten that the biggest investor of the Takashi Hoshi tournament is the Jiang Group? Jiang Xinyu said with a smile. Let's go then. Let's go. After the 3rd Star Martial Arts Tournament turned the tables, the subsequent Star Martial Arts Tournament became better and better. It was now the 6th Star Martial Arts Tournament. The tournament venue had been moved from the regional stadium to the central stadium in Sioux City. The huge arena covered the entire football field. The surrounding stands could accommodate tens of thousands of people watching the tournament at the same time. There were drones in the sky. A huge electromagnetic shield covered the entire arena like an inverted bowl. The host announced the sponsors of the 6th edition of the Takashi Hoshi tournament in one breath. More than 10 sponsors were announced in 60 seconds. That speed was really impressive. Now, let us give our warmest cheers and applause to the first contestant of the tournament. The anonymous contestant, Taoist Priest Mu. Awoo! The atmosphere in the stadium instantly became very lively. Feeling the fiery atmosphere at the scene, Wang Lan actually felt a little hot-blooded. Maybe he was reminiscing about the past. Wait, I'm still young. How can I reminisce about the past? Taoist Priest Mu's strength is obvious to all. Since the preliminaries, he has been invincible. The longest match is 9 minutes, and the shortest is 30 seconds. Taoist Priest Mu's style is to be steady. No opponent can even touch the corner of his clothes. No opponent can withstand a light tap of his finger. I wonder if Taoist Priest Mu can continue his legend tonight. Let's wait and see. Now, let us welcome the second contestant of the first round. She is the most mysterious, the most talked about, and the most ferocious girl in the tournament. The anonymous contestant, Zhu Lang. Awoo! This time, the eruption of cheers was even louder, causing Wang Lan's eardrums to ache a little. What's going on? Do you have to be like this? But when Wang Lan saw Zhu Lang, he instantly understood why these people were howling like wild wolves in heat. Zhu Lang was actually a girl. Her legs were long and slender, and she was wearing a sexy singlet. Although a large part of her snow-white skin was exposed, she didn't give off a sexy or seductive feeling. Instead, she was full of youthful energy. Zhu Lang was wearing a mask, but her healthy and energetic figure was enough for people to ignore the mask on her face. A girl with such a good figure couldn't be ugly. After all, one's face could be painted and plastic surgery could be done, but one's figure was innate. Ever since he became popular, the number of anonymous contestants in the Takashi Hoshi tournament has increased. In the 5th and 6th episodes, there was even a joke that said, "I'm not afraid of the opponent's strength, I'm afraid of the opponent's mask." Hey, what are you looking at? Even if she has a good figure, do you have to stare at her like that? What's the name of that Zhu Lang? Do you have her information? Wang Lan blurted out. Huh? Did I give you face? You actually want her information? What's wrong with adding her as a friend and flirting with her? Seeing Jiang Xinyu's scrutinizing gaze, Wang Lan instantly realized that his question was inappropriate. He quickly smiled and said, I think that Zhu Lang is Fei Fei. Who? Fei Fei? Jiang Xinyu widened her eyes in shock. How old is she? How dare she participate in the Takashi Hoshi tournament? From the 4th season to the 6th season, the top 16 contestants are basically all from Nebula. The Takashi Hoshi contestants who stay in the cities don't have a chance to enter the finals. Those who can enter the finals are all geniuses from Takashi Hoshi high schools. Fei Fei is only in her second year of middle school, right? I practiced with Fei Fei for the whole day today. I feel that she's very experienced in actual combat. Not only is she skilled in killing moves, but she's also very experienced in actual combat. I was thinking that Hu Qing had trained her well. However, with Hu Qing's ability, I'm afraid that she might not be a match for Fei Fei. Now, I can see that this girl has been training in the Takashi Hoshi tournament. A tournament that lasts for only 2 months? Don't underestimate it. Even if it's only 2 months, some people can make great progress in just one match. After 4 or 5 matches, their combat experience is basically at the next level. Jiang Xinyu nodded slightly at Wang Lan's words. She was that kind of person. She then picked up the phone and asked. After hanging up the phone, Jiang Xinyu smiled bitterly. It really is Fei Fei. I knew it was her. Let's see what kind of surprise the genius girl, who Fei Fei, has for us. Soon, the 2 contestants in the ring began to fight intensely. Hu Fei Fei didn't use her innate skills to attack. Instead, she fought fiercely with ordinary Takashi Hoshi techniques and combat skills. Wang Lan determined that Hu Fei Fei was at the peak of Nebula. Even if she didn't use her bone innate skills, she was at least at the late stage of Nebula. Her opponent was clearly at the early stage of Nebula, but she was also at the peak of Nebula. Fighting above one's level had always been the privilege of super geniuses. Even someone as talented as Jiang Xinyu couldn't fight above one's level before she cultivated the bright yang sword art and virtuous like water. Since when were super geniuses so common? As the battle grew more intense, Wang Lan and Jiang Xinyu were able to see some clues. This Taoist monk Mu was something. Taoist monk Mu's Takashi Hoshi techniques were launched from his fingers to attack the target. However, his attacks were all aimed at the meridians of a human body, which was the circulation route of astral power. Moreover, Taoist monk Mu's movement, defense, and attack of Takashi Hoshi techniques were all one. This didn't belong to the category of Takashi Hoshi techniques. It should belong to the category of cultivation techniques. The Takashi Hoshi techniques that were circulating among humans were all single techniques. However, cultivation techniques could evolve into a higher level of Takashi Hoshi techniques. Wang Lan only knew 3 cultivation techniques: Phoenix Form, 5 Extreme Fire Art, and Bright Yang Sword Art. These 3 were all S-rank cultivation techniques, and their power could reach the astral soul realm. The cultivation method used by Priest Mu was much weaker than this one, but no matter how weak it was still a cultivation method. Chapter 536. Fei Fei is about to lose. Wang Lan suddenly said calmly. Hu Fei Fei had clearly reached her limit, but Taoist monk Mu was still as calm and composed as ever. In terms of strength, Taoist monk Mu was at a higher level than Hu Fei Fei, and he was also more proficient in Takashi Hoshi techniques than Hu Fei Fei. There was no such thing as luck in this battle. If Taoist monk Mu didn't make any mistakes, there was no way Hu Fei Fei would stand chance. Taoist monk Mu hadn't made any mistakes before, and he definitely wouldn't make any now. Not long after Wang Lan finished speaking, Hu Fei Fei was indeed in a perilous situation. But suddenly, something strange happened in the arena. No one noticed that a black shadow had appeared in the form of a cloud of black smoke, and it instantly transformed into a black-robed figure on the stage. The appearance of the black shadow immediately halted the pace of the competition, and everyone's eyes were fixed on the black-robed figure who had appeared out of nowhere. "Who are you? How did you get in? Get out of the way!" Wang Lan suddenly roared, and his body instantly transformed into a butterfly. The butterfly flapped its wings and charged toward the arena. On the arena, the black-robed figure waved his hand lightly, and Taoist monk Mu fell to the ground with a cry of agony. The black-robed figure then turned into a cloud of smoke and soared into the sky, and Wang Lan had already caught up to him. Bright Yang Sword Art. Chi. A beam of sword light shot out from Wang Lan's fingertip toward the cloud of smoke, and a beam of black light shot out from the cloud of smoke and collided with the bright Yang sword Chi. There was a loud boom, and all the electronic equipment in the Takashi Hoshi tournament exploded in unison, and the electromagnetic shield above was instantly shattered. Waves of air rolled and surged into the sky. If it weren't for the fact that this was an open-air stadium, the rolling waves of air would have directly lifted the lid of the stadium. Wang Lan floated silently in the sky, staring at the void where the black smoke had disappeared and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Who was this black-robed figure? How did he have such power? Not even Wang Lan, a titled battle pet warrior, could stop the black-robed man. In particular, the black beam of light that the other party shot out was actually able to shatter the bright Yang sword chi. Why would such a powerful man want to kill a Takashi Hoshi who was only in the early stages of Nebula? Fuck, what happened? In the blink of an eye? Why did Priest Mu fall on the ground? Also, who was the person floating in the sky? Can Takashi Hoshi levitate? I don't know. It's understandable that you blinked, but I didn't even blink. I still don't understand anything. I saw a mysterious black-robed man appear. I saw it too. Could this person be the mysterious black-robed man? The organizers of the show rushed over, and Wang Lan slowly descended from the sky. He looked at Hu Fei, who was still in a state of shock, and smiled faintly. Are you all right? I'm fine. Thank you, Lan. Greedy wolf. Hu Fei hurriedly changed her words at the critical moment. She was wearing a mask now. If Wang Lan knew that she was participating in the Takashi Hoshi tournament at her age, he would probably lecture her. Sir, may I ask what happened? Priest Mu, what happened to Priest Mu? Quick, call the medical Takashi Hoshi. There's no need. He's already dead. Quickly inform the Heavenly Sword Bureau. Wang Lan ordered with a serious expression. Dead? How could this be? Sir, you didn't leave, did you? Mr. Producer, this is Jade State's titled expert, Greedy Wolf, Hu Fei said with some dissatisfaction when she saw that the organizers were suspecting Wang Lan. What? You're Greedy Wolf? You're Wang Lan from Sioux City? Are you serious? Contestant Little Wolf is revisiting an old place? Although all the live broadcast equipment had been damaged, the producer's voice could still be heard clearly from the public speakers, allowing the live audience to hear it clearly. The person who was floating in the arena just now was actually Sioux City's legendary Greedy Wolf. In an instant, a piece of news spread all over the world through the mobile phones of the people present. Tonight, at the live broadcast of the Takashi Hoshi tournament, Greedy Wolf has personally visited an old place. Wang Lan has appeared in the Takashi Hoshi tournament. Jiang Xinyu had also appeared in the arena at some point. Wang Lan squatted down to examine Priest Mu's body. He took off his mask and revealed an average-looking face under the mask. He should be in his 30s. Priest Mu's eyes were also open when he died. His eye sockets were pitch black without a single trace of white. This strange death made Wang Lan frown. Normally, a dead person's pupils would be dilated and the color would be very light. However, Priest Mu's pupils were dilated, but the color was also pitch black. Even his entire eyeball was pitch black. Could he have been poisoned? Wang Lan stretched out his finger in front of Priest Mu's face. Wang Lan's finger was broken down, and soon Wang Lan frowned. There was no poison left in Priest Mu's eyeball. The pitch-black color of his eyes was purely caused by the precipitation of pigment from his sensory chip. Woo woo woo. A series of urgent sirens could be heard. The Heavenly Sword Bureau quickly arrived. In fact, there was no need for the organizers to report it. Given the popularity of the Takashi Hoshi tournament, many of the Heavenly Sword Bureau's brothers will be watching the live broadcast on time. They would know immediately what happened during the live broadcast. Leading the team was the head of the operations department, Li Gu. Li Gu had been promoted to the head of the operations department, and his strength had reached the peak of the Galaxy State. Li Gu was only 25 years old this year, and his chances of breaking through to the Star Sea State were very high. On the other hand, Su Shiyun seemed to have been transferred from the intelligence department to the security department. Although Su Shiyun had successfully broken through to the Galaxy State, his potential had been exhausted. Even if he could reach the peak of the Galaxy State in 20 years, he could forget about reaching the Star Sea State. He had seen many geniuses, If he was not of the Star Sea state, how could he be called a Takashi Hoshi? However, among all the Takashi Hoshi in the Jade state, those who could reach the Galaxy state were already 80 to 90% ahead of their peers. Those who could break through to the Star Sea state were even rarer. Wang Lan was an existence that only appeared once every few decades. Wang Lan, you happen to be at the scene? Li Ge greeted Wang Lan after arriving. Didn't you see the murderer make a move? I saw it, but I couldn't stop him, Wang Lan said solemnly. Even you couldn't stop him? Li Ge shouted in surprise. Wang Lan's strength was higher than the outside world's estimation. He had even heard from a new director that Wang Lan's strength was probably among the top 5 among the titled experts. The opponent's strength was extraordinary, and he didn't want to waste time with me. After we attacked, he took the opportunity to escape. There are only a few people in the country who can escape under my watch. This black-robed man is a bit difficult to deal with. Li Ge, let me get involved this time. What are you talking about? You're still in the Heavenly Sword Bureau's intelligence department. Of course, there's no problem. If it weren't for the black-robed man's terrifying strength, Wang Lan wouldn't have gotten involved. After all, things are different now. Wang Lan was someone who had saved the world. It would be unreasonable for him to pursue the murderer. However, with the black-robed man's strength, the Heavenly Sword Bureau wouldn't be able to defeat him without Wang Lan's help. If the murderer is so strong, why would he want to kill the Nebula Taoist Monk Mu? Someone like Taoist Monk Mu is like an ant to the black-robed man. Li Ge asked, puzzled. Maybe the two are related. Sinew asked the organizer to bring me Taoist Monk Mu's identity information. Soon, a printed document fell into Wang Lan's hands. Anonymous contestant Taoist Monk Mu, name Yin Tong, 32 years old. Originally served in the Cloud Sea Space Reclamation. After retirement, he was assigned to be a librarian in the Sioux City Library. Librarian? This was one of the 2 hermit occupations, along with sweeping monks. Li Ge immediately used this clue to connect to the Heavenly Sword Bureau's database terminal and searched for more details about Yin Tong. Yin Tong, born in the West Mountain District of Sioux City in the year 4990. Graduated in the year 5014. First served in the Northwest Takashi Hoshi Army. 5 years later, he retired and joined the Cloud Sea Space Reclamation Team. At the beginning of the year 5022, he returned with serious injuries from a reconnaissance mission. All 22 members of the Cloud Sea Reclamation Team were wiped out. After being rescued by the Takashi Hoshi, Yin Tong's life was saved. One of his kidneys and half of his liver were removed. He was determined to be unable to continue his service and was assigned to work in the Sioux City Library. That's strange. Based on his performance just now, how could he not be able to continue fighting? He's very strong, Jiang Xinyu said after listening. Moreover, Yin Tong was at the peak of star blazing before he was injured. It hasn't even been a year, but he's already at the early Nebula stage. I'm afraid his actual combat power is beyond Nebula. He's probably at the Galaxy stage. Even after removing 2 of his organs, he can still advance further. He's got a lot of secrets on him. Wang Lan smiled. Take him back and examine him properly. I suspect that Yin Tong's murder is related to his experience. Li Ge asked his brothers to take Yin Tong's body back, then said to Wang Lan, let's go take a look at Yin Tong's house. Of course. Along the way, more information from the Heavenly Sword Bureau's investigation was quickly gathered in Li Ji's hands. Yin Tong's life has been very regular for the past 6 months. He's never revealed the fact that he's recovered his strength. Because he was discharged from the military due to his injury, the country still takes good care of him. He's been allocated a 2-bedroom house and an electric car as a means of transportation. His monthly salary is $6,000, his welfare allowance is $5,000, and the electricity and gas bills for the house are all waived. Among his colleagues, Yin Tong is a mild-tempered person, and he used to be a Takashi Hoshi. He's also considered young. Over the past year, several girls have tried to get close to him, but he rejected them all. The reason is one of his kidneys was removed. From all aspects, Yin Tong's life has been like an ordinary person for the past year. There's nothing out of the ordinary about him. If there's anything out of the ordinary, he's bought a lot of supplements and herbs in the past year. Supplements? Yes, they're all Chinese medicine supplements, such as ginseng and spiritual wisdom. He said that his kidneys were weak, but now it seems suspicious. As for his other social circles, they're very thin, and there's nothing noteworthy about them. While they were talking, the car arrived at Yin Tong's neighborhood. After showing their ID and successfully entering, the car drove directly to the ground floor. The five of them got out of the car and went straight into Yin Tong's house. The two-bedroom house was very spacious for one person. The house was very clean and tidy. There were two bedrooms. One was Yin Tong's room, but the other was decorated a little strangely. The second bedroom was empty. There was a painting hanging on the wall and a futon under the painting. There was only one word written on the painting, Zen. Did Yin Tong become obsessed with Buddhism after he retired from the military? Wang Lan asked. It's not stated on the report. Yin Tong doesn't usually wear bracelets, and he hasn't been to temples to burn incense and worship Buddha. I haven't heard that he likes to read Buddhist scriptures during working hours. It can't be, right? People who are obsessed with Buddhism have these characteristics. They wear Buddha statues or bracelets, like to read Buddhist scriptures, and often go to temples to pray. But if Yin Tong wasn't a fan of Buddhism, why did he turn the second bedroom into a meditation room? Chapter 537. After a fruitless search, Wang Lan and Li Gu once again returned to the Heavenly Sword Bureau. Just as they sat down in Li Ji's office, the laboratory report came out. Wang Lan, look, there's nothing wrong with Yin Tong's body. Both of his kidneys are intact, and so is his liver. Is Yin Tong's retirement information fake? It shouldn't be. Takashi Hoshi's disability assessment and disability assessment are two separate departments, and there's a detailed process connected to the big data terminal. No one in Yin Tong's interpersonal relationships can help him do this. I'm more inclined to believe that Yin Tong recovered on his own. How is that possible? Yin Tong isn't a Takashi Hoshi healer. Yin Tong was at the peak of star blazing when he retired. Not only did his strength not regress, but it also improved. Going from star blazing to nebula requires a lot of soul orbs. Yin Tong didn't go to the trial space, so he didn't have the opportunity to obtain a lot of soul orbs. At the same time, it's not Yin Tong's turn to popularize the immortal cloud mystic records. And in less than a year, Yin Tong has not only been reborn, but his strength has also been turned upside down. This doesn't make sense. I don't know if you've paid attention to a detail. Wang Lan asked with a chuckle. What? He spent almost all of his money on tonics. Combined with his injury report, I can almost speculate that he bought so many tonics to recover from his physical injuries. Those ginseng, ganoderma, and so on can also heal the body's organs. Li Gu felt a strong impact on his life. Although ginseng and other Chinese herbs did have the effect of strengthening the body, these were still classified as health supplements. Even Takashi Hoshi healers couldn't heal the physical injuries, and even soul orbs couldn't heal the body's defects. You relied on health supplements to heal the body? Not only did your strength not regress, but you also broke through nebula? The black-robed man's motive for killing Yin Tong itself is very problematic. Also, did you notice the Takashi Hoshi technique Yin Tong used during the competition? It was a complete set of Takashi Hoshi techniques, not just a single Takashi Hoshi technique. This type of Takashi Hoshi technique is what we call a cultivation method. Cultivation method? Li Gu was a member of the Takashi Hoshi clan's Chu clan, so he had naturally heard of this technique. Generally, only Super S Takashi Hoshi techniques could reach the level of a cultivation technique. Thinking of this, Li Ji's eyes suddenly became cold. Yin Tong really deserves to die. He must have had a fortuitous encounter in a different space. How could he not hand over this cultivation method that could allow him to be reborn? Everyone is selfish. I can understand why he didn't hand over the cultivation technique. However, this technique is very useful to the human race. The reason why the black-robed man wanted to kill him was probably because of this technique. What should we investigate next? I suspect that it has something to do with his last mission. Contact Yinhai to find out what his last mission was and what he encountered. I'll contact them right away. It was already late at night when he returned to the Sinew building. Jiang Sinew had returned to her home, so Wang Lan was alone again tonight. Just as he lay down, his phone rang with a message notification. "You're not back yet?" Jiang Sinew sent. "I just got home." "Okay, then you should sleep early." Wang Lan waited for Jiang Sinew for a long time, but there was no reply. He suddenly smiled. It must be that Jiang Sinew also felt a little lonely being alone in an empty room. The next morning, Wang Lan went to the Heavenly Sword Bureau again to investigate. Although it was only the death of a Nebula Takashi Hoshi, this case was very important because of the black-robed man's strength. Among all the cases that Wang Lan had encountered, this was definitely one of the top 10 cases. In the Heavenly Sword Bureau's conference room, Li Gu was briefing the task force on the information and progress of the case. Suddenly, his phone rang. Li Gu paused and took out his phone to answer the call. "Hello, Chief Zhang." "What?" "Okay, I'll be there right away." After hanging up, Li Gu looked at Wang Lan and said, "The superintendent just called. The mysterious black-robed man has made his move again. He attacked the Sioux City Museum. Let's go to the superintendent." When they arrived at the superintendent, Wang Lan's old friend, Hu Qing, greeted him. Hu Qing was not surprised by Wang Lan's visit. Hu Qing knew that Wang Lan had returned to Sioux City. With such a big thing happening, based on his understanding of Wang Lan would definitely not sit back and do nothing. When they arrived at the conference room, Hu Qing immediately opened the video. At 9:20 this morning, a black-robed man appeared in the Sioux City Museum. Anyone who was within 3 meters of him fell to the ground and died. We can't see how he attacked. In the video, a black-robed man appeared and walked straight into the museum. At the moment, there were several tour groups in the museum. Everyone who got close to him fell to the ground. The black-robed man's movement did not seem fast, but he entered the museum in the blink of an eye. Then, he walked straight to the private area at the back. The road he passed was the area of death. The black-robed man's behavior also had a strong sense of detachment. No matter how panicked the people around him were and how they fled, he walked straight ahead as if he did not see them. The black-robed man finally broke into the museum's dormitory building and disappeared without a trace. Everyone in the museum's dormitory building died. A total of 37 people. Based on the route, he seemed to have a clear purpose. Did the black-robed man take anything? I don't know yet. It has only been an hour since the incident. More than 100 tourists were killed. Have the bodies been transported back? Yes, they are in the morgue. Wang Lan stood up and walked to the morgue. Dozens of corpses covered in white cloth were densely packed together. It was very shocking. Although Wang Lan had experienced many life and death situations, the scene in front of him still shocked Wang Lan. People who were used to seeing life and death would become numb to it. Fortunately, Wang Lan was not numb to it. When the white cloth was lifted, everyone's death was the same as Yin Tong's. The dead people's expressions were very calm. Some of them even had bright smiles on their faces. It could be inferred that they died very quickly. They died in an instant. Their eye sockets were pitch black, as if their eyeballs were dyed black by ink. It was the black-robed man. The way he killed them is exactly the same as how he killed Yin Tong. What is this black-robed man trying to do? Why would he kill a group of weak, ordinary people? If he has the ability, come and find us. Li Gu angrily punched the wall, leaving a fist mark. "Chifu, we got the confession." A guard hurriedly opened the morgue door. "We found a staff member of the museum who was lucky enough not to be killed. He was the janitor of the museum's dormitory building. We took him to the dormitory and went door to door. Finally, we found Professor Liu's dormitory and said that a Buddha statue was missing." "A Buddha statue? Are you sure?" He was sure because this Buddha statue is very big. It is as tall as a person. Recently, Professor Liu has been studying the Buddha statue. At the same time, there are many Buddhist books in Professor Liu's dormitory. These books show signs of frequent flipping, which can confirm the janitor's confession. The black-robed man's goal is the Buddha statue? I have a feeling that the black-robed man seems to be erasing something. Everything he does is erasing something. Wang Lan and the others left the morgue. Soon, the people below reported that the museum's curator had been found. Hu Qing quickly invited the curator to the interrogation room. The curator was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He was slightly plump and looked very panicked. With such a big thing happening in a museum, anyone would be panicking. Curator King, you know what happened. I want to ask you if you know that Professor Liu is studying a Buddha statue. I know. That Buddha statue was sold to the museum by a Takashi Hoshi in March this year, Curator King said without hesitation. Takashi Hoshi? Is it this person? Wang Lan immediately took out Yin Tong's photo and held it in front of Curator King. Yes, it's him. Several people exchanged glances and successfully connected the dots. The black-robed man first killed Yin Tong and then went to the museum to steal the Buddha statue that Yin Tong sold. The black-robed man's goal gradually became clear. Tell me in detail what happened. Okay. Curator King trembled as he picked up a towel and checked the sweat on his forehead. Do you have a cigarette? After lighting a cigarette, Curator King calmed down a little. Around March, a Takashi Hoshi drove to the museum and brought a bronze Buddha statue that was as tall as a person. He asked us to estimate the price. The reason why I remember it so clearly is that generally, no one comes to the museum to sell cultural relics. We are the Cultural Relics Protection Department. If cultural relics dealers send cultural relics to us, wouldn't they be walking into a trap? At that time, I only thought that the Takashi Hoshi didn't understand the situation. Who knew that after Professor Liu saw it, he said that he could estimate the price and must buy it. Oh, why is that? Professor Liu estimated that this Buddha statue should be the demon-suppressing Buddha. Buddhism was introduced to the Jade State about 3,000 years ago. Professor Liu estimated that the age of this Buddha was also 3,000 years ago. In other words, this Buddha statue is the first batch of Buddha statues and belongs to the national treasure. Demon-suppressing Buddha? What's that? Legend has it that 3,000 years ago, the world was filled with demons. Sakyamuni brought his disciples to the east to save all living beings. When they passed by Yinhai, they found that the people here were enslaved by the demons and suffered unspeakably. Sakyamuni joined forces with the local priests to launch a counterattack against the demons. After decades of fighting, the demons were finally defeated. However, the demons were too strong and the people couldn't destroy them. In the end, Sakyamuni cut off a golden body and turned it into a demon-suppressing Buddha statue to suppress the demons. After that, Sakyamuni was able to pass on his teachings to the east. After that, China had Buddhism. According to the records of Buddhism, Sakyamuni finally passed away in Jiuhua and left behind two primitive Buddha statues. One was Pudu and the other was Merciful. However, the records of Buddhism from beginning to end recorded that there were 3 Buddha statues and the last one was demon-suppressing Buddha. Of the 2 Buddha statues of Pudu and Merciful, one is in Mount Jiuhua and the other is in Sihong Temple in the South China Sea. These are all what Professor Liu told me when he was free. Then do you know where Yin Tong got the Buddha statue? He only said that it was in Yinhai and didn't say anything else. Because this demon-suppressing Buddha statue has never appeared, it can't be designated as a protected cultural relic. Yin Tong said that he got it, so it's his. We can't keep it as a national treasure. Yin Tong asked for 5 million and Professor Liu agreed without even thinking about it. After asking for a few more details, Hu Qing let Curator King leave. After Curator King left, Li Ge frowned and asked solemnly, "Could that black-robed man be the demon suppressed by the Buddha statue? Isn't this a fairy tale? I think that the black-robed man is a powerful Takashi Hoshi who wants to snatch the demon-suppressing Buddha statue for some unknown reason." Hu Qing touched his chin and analyzed slowly. Chapter 538. The north wind whistled as it blew through the valley, emitting waves of mournful howls. The shadows of the trees danced in the air, and countless branches fell down like rain. A black smoke rolled and twisted in the forest. Suddenly, it shrank and the black shadow gathered into a ball, gradually condensing into a figure in a black robe. The black-robed man appeared and placed a little girl in his arms on the ground. The little girl fell into a coma, but even in a coma, her face was still filled with fear. Then, the black-robed man took out the Buddha statue that he had prepared earlier and punched it. The Buddha statue looked like an ordinary bronze product, but it did not move under the black-robed man's attack. The black-robed man was someone who could take on Wang Lan's great Yang sword art head-on. Even if it was just a casual attack, it could shake the world. However, this attack did not react to the Buddha statue at all. The black-robed man let out a cold snort, and the aura around him suddenly surged. Powerful black smoke lingered around him. Suddenly, a black energy ball condensed in front of the black-robed man's chest, and he slammed it out fiercely. The black ball hit the Buddha statue's chest. Boom! A loud noise shook the world, and the Buddha statue's chest suddenly emitted light. A golden swastika appeared on the Buddha statue's chest. The swastika slowly rotated, turning into a wish wheel to defend against the black-robed man's attack. Let's see how long you can resist the residual Buddhist power of 3,000 years of time. The black-robed man's tearing voice rang out, and black energy balls bombarded the Buddha statue like machine guns. Gradually, the swastika dimmed and suddenly shattered under the black-robed man's attack. The moment the swastika shattered, countless cracks appeared on the Buddha statue's body. The primitive Buddha statue that had been passed down for thousands of years, the three ancient Buddhas left behind by Sakyamuni, and the demon-suppressing Buddha statue were beaten into ruins. In the ruins, a cloud of black smoke floated into the sky and danced. Then, liquid black steam suddenly appeared on the black-robed man's body. The black-robed man suddenly trembled all over, and then slowly knelt down, prostrating himself on the ground. "Master!" The black-robed man let out an old and hoarse cry. This voice was completely different from the previous neutral voice. It was as if someone had damaged the vocal cords and produced a terrifying, ear-piercing sound. Suddenly, a black asphalt-like liquid gushed out of the black-robed man's body. The liquid suddenly opened up into a terrifying ghost face. Then, the black smoke floating in the sky instantly merged with this ferocious ghost face, and finally turned into a ferocious and terrifying venom. The liquid pounced on the little girl as if it had seen its prey, wrapping her up in the blink of an eye. An extremely tragic scream pierced through the sky. The venom drilled into the little girl's face, and then quickly entered the little girl's body. After a while, the little girl opened her eyes. Her eyes were completely black without a trace of white. In the place where the black-robed man had been standing, a middle-aged man with a ferocious appearance appeared. The middle-aged man's face was full of holes, as if it had been corroded. The man knelt on one knee in front of the little girl and lowered his head. "Master, it's been 3,000 years." A distant and ethereal sigh sounded. The little girl muttered to herself, "You sealed me 3 years ago. I took the interest from your descendants." The little girl lowered her head and looked at her hands. Black smoke surged around her body. "The human body is still too weak. I still have to find a seal body. As for you," as the little girl spoke, she raised her head and looked at the middle-aged man kneeling in front of her. Feeling the little girl's gaze, the middle-aged man suddenly shivered. "Master, don't worry. Seeing that you let me live here for so long, I won't kill you." Thank you, Master." Time slowly passed. Unknowingly, half a month had already passed. Half a month had already passed since the incident at the museum. But the black-robed man's matter seemed to have been completed. In this half a month, there was no news of the black-robed man. The black-robed man had only appeared twice. The first time was at the Takashi Hoshi tournament, where he killed Yin Tong. He also had a brief exchange with Wang Lan, allowing Wang Lan to determine the black-robed man's strength. The second time was when he attacked the Sioux City Museum and stole the Buddha statue. The black-robed man's 2 actions had caused the Heavenly Sword Bureau to pay extra attention to him. For half a month, he had been investigated intensively and intensively. But the black-robed man was like a shadow that didn't exist at all. No matter how much importance the Heavenly Sword Bureau placed on him and how much fear Wang Lan had of him, the fact was that the black-robed man had completed his task and retreated. Given the black-robed man's strength, if he wanted to hide obediently, no one could do anything to him. Wang Lan, the Cloud Sea Realm, has replied. Yin Tong belongs to a medium-sized Takashi Hoshi army in the northern region. Before the new year, the strange beasts in the northern region were acting strangely. Yin Tong's team was ordered to investigate. Yin Tong's team was considered a relatively elite unit. There was 1 Galaxy Realm member and 4 Nebula Galaxy Realm members. Their last mission was to investigate a new spatial fragment that had appeared. There were strange beasts that resembled bats in the new spatial fragment. Their experience after that was what Yin Tong had told them. But now, Yin Tong's words couldn't be trusted anymore. Yin Tong's team was almost completely wiped out during this mission. According to his last statement, they were surrounded by strange beasts. These spirit-strange beasts can fuse into powerful strange beasts. They really do resemble Ghostface. Then, his team was killed by the fused strange beasts, and he was the only one who survived? Yes, because he wasn't strong, he stayed behind as a liaison. If anything happened, he was responsible for responding and requesting help from headquarters. In Yin Tong's words, the situation on the battlefield changed too quickly. He didn't even have time to react before half of his team was wiped out. According to the previous agreement, he immediately withdrew from the battlefield and requested help from headquarters. However, he was pursued along the way and dragged back to headquarters in the northern region with heavy injuries. Headquarters immediately sent experts to rescue him. But the strange thing was that the spirit-strange beasts had all disappeared. Not only did the strange beasts disappear, but even the new spatial fragment disappeared. That means that the black-robed man might not be a human, but a strange beast? It chased after Yin Tong to complete its unfinished pursuit? That's impossible. That black-robed man obviously has intelligence. Moreover, if the black-robed man was a strange beast, why did he snatch the demon-suppressing Buddha statue? But this is all the information we can get from the Cloud Sea Realm. We don't know anything about the black-robed man's origins and motives. After that, it never appeared again. I'm afraid this case will become an unsolved case. Li Gu spread his hands helplessly. Without any clues, there was no way to investigate. Wang Lan frowned as he looked at the information in his hands. In fact, Wang Lan had a feeling for the past half a month. It was just that his unwillingness to admit defeat drove him to review the information again and again, hoping to find new clues. However, the black-robed man had attacked twice in total, and the time period didn't exceed 20 minutes. Not to mention the black-robed man's appearance. Even his figure couldn't be confirmed, let alone other strong evidence. Previously, Wang Lan only thought that with the current clues, it would be very difficult to continue investigating. Now that the Cloud Sea Realm's investigation report said that it wasn't even certain whether the black-robed man was a human or not, it was even more impossible to continue investigating. Let's put it aside for now. There are too few clues. There's really no other way. Wang Lan sighed. You can use the name of the Heavenly Sword Bureau to make an announcement to the entire Heavenly Sword Bureau. First of all, this black-robed man is an extremely dangerous person. You can't let your guard down. I know. You've been helping us solve cases for the past half a month and neglected your little girlfriend. Li Gu laughed mockingly. He skillfully took out a cigarette. Do you want one? No need. Sinyu's side is fine. She understands. Then, I'll go back today. If there are any new developments, you must inform me immediately. No problem. It was almost dusk when he left the Heavenly Sword Bureau. Although he acted as if everything was under his control in front of Li Gu, there was still a trace of panic in his heart. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. Hello, yes, I'm done. You haven't caught the culprit, right? Jiang Xinyu was sitting on Jiang Xinchen's back. She was holding the phone with her legs crossed. Jiang Xinchen looked at her sister with a pained expression. She was angry but did not dare say anything. No, the black-robed man hasn't done anything since the museum incident. If there are no further clues, there's no way to continue investigating. It was rare for me to have a break and have some fun, but in the end, I've been busy for half a month. It's okay. By the way, my mom said that we're going to Hanming Temple tomorrow. Hanming Temple's autumn chrysanthemum and red maple are open to tourists. Tomorrow is Sakymuna's birthday. Hanming Temple seems to be having an event. There will be a lot of people there, right? It's because there will be a lot of people that my mom said she's going. I've already promised her. Okay, then we'll go together tomorrow. Okay, I'm hanging up. Seeing that Jiang Xinyu was about to hang up, Jiang Xinshin hurriedly called out, "Brother-in-law, save me." What's wrong? Wang Lan suddenly asked when he heard a scream. Nothing. I'm checking on Xinshin's cultivation. It's a mess. Xinshin is going to graduate in a month. I'm afraid he can't even beat Fei. Don't be too strict. Fei is special. Let alone Xinshin. Even I might not be able to beat her back then. I'm hanging up now. Okay. Jiang Xinyu hung up the phone with a smile on her face. She jumped off Jiang Xinshin's back, and the smile on her face gradually disappeared. Sister, you can't bear to lay your hands on such a cute little sister, right? I'm so weak, pitiful, and helpless. I'll give you 20 minutes, and you still can't break free from me. You're really weak, pitiful, and helpless. You've learned to ask for help. Sister, you're a Grand Star Sea Realm cultivator, and you're suppressing me, an early nebula. Is that proper? How can a nebula like me break free? That's because you're trash. You know who Fei, right? We've even had a meal together before. She's only 13 this year. She has at least 5 ways to break free from my suppression just now. You're already 17, right? Don't say that I'm not taking care of you. I've already taught you the Immortal Cloud mystic record. Takashi Hoshi's rank has risen quickly, but his combat strength is seriously inconsistent with Takashi Hoshi's rank. If you can't satisfy me today, I guarantee that you won't be able to leave the house tomorrow. That's what you're trying to do, right? Putting righteousness before family. Chapter 539. Just as Wang Lan had guessed, the number of people in Hanming Temple had surged today. In order to limit the number of visitors, the traffic police had even implemented traffic control. They divided the visitors into batches and allowed them to enter layer by layer. Hanming Temple was located on the mountainside of the West Mountain. After many years of tourism development, the mountain road was built very well. The 10-meter-wide steps were flat and neat. Even so, climbing up the 300-meter-long mountainside required a very good physical strength. There was a leisure area every few dozen meters. Visitors could enter the leisure area to play, buy drinks, food, and so on. Of course, the drinks and food in the scenic area all had a characteristic. They were expensive. If they didn't want to climb the stairs, they could also take the sightseeing cable. It cost 800 jade coins per person. They could take the cable from the foot of the mountain to the entrance of Hanming Temple. Wang Lan, Jiang Xinyu, and Jiang Xinyu's mother, Huang Jinqi, followed the crowd and slowly walked to the top of the mountain. For 2-star Sea Realm Takashi Hoshi, this distance was nothing. Huang Jinqi had Jiang Xinyu and Jiang Xinshin taking turns to support her, so it wasn't a big deal. Huang Jinqi had watched Wang Lan grow up. She treated Wang Lan like her own nephew. However, Huang Jinqi didn't know that Wang Lan's mother was the famous Southern Yin Emperor. Now that she knew, she just felt a little emotional. The Wang clan and the Jiang clan had known each other since the landlord and the tenant. When Jiang Xinyu's father started his business, he rented Wang Ling's office building. Sometimes, when Wang Ling had to go on mission, he would ask Huang Jinqi to take care of Wang Lan. When Huang Jinqi had just taken over Wang Lan, she had already fallen in love with Wang Lan. Back then, Wang Lan's performance was simply too smart, and she was also too cute. As she got older, she liked to reminisce about the past. Along the way, Huang Jinqi kept talking about Wang Lan and Jiang Xinyu's childhood. She didn't hide her appreciation for Wang Lan and Jiang Xinyu. Unknowingly, the group walked to the top of the mountain. There were many tourists at the top of the mountain. At the entrance, there were monks from Hanming Temple setting up incense, stands to sell incense to the tourists. Looking at the group of monks whose hair had not been shaved clean, Wang Lan couldn't help but mutter to himself that they were too unprofessional. At this moment, in the main hall, a middle-aged man wearing sunglasses walked in devoutly, followed by 2 bodyguards carrying suitcases. Every year on this day, I will come here to burn a stick of incense. Most of the masters of Hanming Temple know me. The middle-aged man seemed to be talking to himself, but also seemed to be talking to the 2 subordinates behind him. Benefactor Han, you're here again. A middle-aged monk with a kind expression walked over with his palms together. Master Qingming, your words have a double meaning. I can't tell whether you welcome me or not. What are you saying, Benefactor Han? How could this poor monk not welcome someone as devout and devoted to Buddhism as you? The corners of Han Cheng's mouth cracked into a smile. He gently snapped his fingers, and the 2 lackeys behind him opened the suitcase and poured a dozen coins onto the merit box. Looking at the piles of money, the tourists in the main hall all exclaimed in unison. Even the welcoming monks looked at Han Cheng in a daze. In the past, Han Cheng came every year and was quite generous. Therefore, everyone in Hanming Temple basically remember Han Cheng. However, in the past, he was generous and only donated 12,000 to 30,000 yuan. He had never directly poured 2 million yuan into the merit box like this. Master Qingming, I brought enough sincerity this time, right? Amitabha, praying to God and worshiping Buddha, it will happen if you are sincere. To Buddha, the amount of offerings is the same. All living beings are equal. Ha! My name has the word sincerity. I am sincere. Today, I came with sincerity to seek enlightenment. I don't know if Buddha can give me a chance. Benefactor Han, do you have doubts in your heart? I have doubts in my heart. Benefactor Han, this way please. Uncle Master is proficient in Buddhism and has a profound cultivation. Perhaps he can resolve your doubts. Han Cheng was brought to the backyard by Qingming and then led to an old monk's meditation room. The old monk sat on a praying mat. His eyelids drooped as he quietly pinched his Buddhist prayer beads. Han Cheng entered and closed the door behind him. Then he sat on the praying mat. Master, Buddha said that all living beings come to the human world to suffer. There are 8 sufferings in the human world: birth, old age, illness, death, parting with love, unattainable desires, resentment, and the 5 E's. Buddha is merciful and has sent down his teachings to free fated people from the 8 sufferings. Then am I a fated person? Benefactor, you came to this meditation room today to sit opposite me. It means that you are fated with me. Benefactor, you came to Hanming Temple today to pray sincerely. It means that you are fated with Buddha. Benefactor, you are naturally a fated person. Since I am a fated person, why do I have to suffer the pain of illness, death, parting with love, unattainable desires, and resentment? I take out so much money every year to worship Buddha. Why doesn't Buddha help me? The cause of the previous life, the fruit of this life. The cause of the previous life is determined by the previous life. Cultivation in this life will bear fruit in the next life. If you cultivate sincerely in this life and do good deeds, you will be reborn in paradise. You will not suffer the pain of reincarnation in the future. Cultivation is about the heart, virtue, and sincerity. It has nothing to do with money. Cause of the previous life? Fruit of this life? What cause of the previous life? You want such a fruit in this life. Do you know about the cause of the previous life? Amitabha, do I know? The master closed his eyes slightly and said quietly, Amitabha, even if it is the cause of the previous life, the fruit of this life, you should at least tell me what sin I committed in my previous life, right? Just a mention of the cause of the previous life, and you want me to suffer in this life? What is this? The middle-aged man's expression was a little ferocious. This question seemed to penetrate his soul. The cause of the previous life should not be known in this life. Everyone's reincarnation is like a blank piece of paper. People can be good or evil. If you know the sins of the previous life, it is hard to say that you will repeat the same mistakes in this life. This is why one life is one life. You need to understand the nature of the previous life. In this life, you need to understand your nature, understand your Zen, and cultivate your heart. You have the fate of Buddha and the heart of Buddha. If you often recite Buddhist scriptures and understand Buddhist principles, there will naturally be a time when you will understand. When you are truly enlightened, it will be the time for you to cultivate and become a Buddha. I can become a Buddha. Anyone can become a Buddha with the heart of Buddha. Buddha won't help me. Buddha helps those who are fated. Buddha helps those who save themselves. And Buddha helps those who are enlightened. If you're not enlightened, what is the use of helping you? If you are enlightened, what is the use of Buddha? I see. I understand. Han Cheng's face finally revealed a relieved expression as he slowly nodded and said, "Excellent, excellent. Congratulations, benefactor. There is no need to congratulate me. It's too late." Han Cheng shook his head and sighed. Too late? Why? I am terminally ill. It is a terminal illness that even life potions can't save. I also found out that my wife has been cuckolding me. The son I raised for more than 10 years is actually not my biological son. I was born poor and started from nothing. In 30 years, I worked my way up to a few hundred million. Now, I find that I have nothing. Master, do you think the punishment given to me by the heavens is too heavy? Amitabha, benefactor, why don't you put yourself in my shoes? Perhaps your fate with Buddha has arrived? Wealth is empty, love is empty, descendants are empty, and predecessors are empty. You have nothing. Isn't it because all four elements are empty? But I don't want to be empty. I don't want to work hard all my life and not even have the time to enjoy wealth. I don't want the woman I have loved for more than 10 years to be the one who has been lying to me. I don't want the son I poured my heart and soul into to be someone else's son. I'm not convinced. I am unwilling. Master, can you resolve the obsession in my heart? Only you can resolve the obsession in your heart. Only by learning to let go can you achieve transcendence. If you don't let go, you will only be dragged into the endless abyss by your obsession. No, you can save me. You can help me. Han Cheng suddenly stood up. His face turned pitch black. Not only did his face turn pitch black, but his eyes were also filled with a thick fog like an abyss. Benefactor, you master's dharma is profound. You should have reached the realm of sacrificing yourself to feed the tiger and cutting your flesh to feed the eagle. Please use your life to help me transcend. As he spoke, he grabbed Zen Master at his neck and lifted him up. His eyes released a column of thick black fog. A stream of black smoke overflowed from Zen Master's eyes and was sucked into Han Cheng's eyes. Bang! The door of the meditation room was slammed open. Two monks rushed into the meditation room. The scene in front of them happened to be Han Cheng slowly letting go of Zen Master with a smug smile on his face. Marshal Granduncle, you killed someone. You're here? Just in time. In an instant, Han Cheng appeared in front of the two monks and grabbed their necks with both hands. Outside Han Ming Temple, the tourists were so crowded that they could not move. They were all like fixed parts on a conveyor belt, drifting with the flow of the crowd. Wang Lan and the other three were also part of the crowd. They were pushed to the merit box, bought a few incense sticks, and followed to the main hall to pray. Behind Wang Lan were a few university students. They must have met up with their classmates during the holidays and came to have fun. This is the legendary trend of the general trend. We are destined to walk into the Vanity Fair, where people come and go. Although I knew that life was not up to us, I didn't experience it firsthand. After being squeezed like this today, I understand a little. Throwing yourself into a sea of people, it's impossible not to go with the flow. It's not up to us whether we go or stay, let alone sailing against the current. Why does Halsey want to sail against the current? Isn't it better to go with the general trend? I think Halsey hasn't experienced the beating of society. He doesn't know that it's not easy to survive in a big city. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the inner hall of Han Ming Temple. A dozen monks ran out of the inner hall in panic, screaming with fear on their faces. Call the police. Murder. Call the police. But the scene was noisy, and the monk's screams were indistinct. In the crowd, Wang Lan and Jiang Sinyu's expressions changed. Wang Lan whispered to Jiang Sinyu, "Protect Annie and Xinshin. Prevent a stampede. I'll go and have a look." Wang Lan was not worried about the appearance of a powerful enemy, but there were so many tourists today. Once a riot broke out and a stampede broke out, people would be killed. Damn, why is there no signal on the phone? There are too many people. The signal is blacked out. Master, who killed people? Who killed people? Everyone, run. It's a homicidal maniac. He has killed dozens of people. The main hall was in a mess. Wang Lan's figure instantly turned into a colorful butterfly. The butterfly crossed hundreds of meters in an instant and appeared at the side door of the main hall. Wang Lan's figure appeared strangely. "Eh," an astonished voice sounded, and a monk who was looking all around for help just happened to see the scene of Wang Lan emerging from the butterfly and hastily called out, "This benefactor, are you a star martial artist?" Wang Lan nodded. "Yes, what happened? Who killed people?" Chapter 540. I don't know. It's a benefactor. I don't know what happened, but he went crazy and killed everyone he saw. Maybe he's a Takashi Hoshi. Take me to him. The monk had a fearful look on his face as he hesitated to move forward. Wang Lan didn't hesitate and disappeared in a flash. After entering the inner court, the commotion in the inner court couldn't escape Wang Lan's perception. Following the commotion, 5 martial monks with wooden sticks in their hands greeted Han Cheng. However, Han Cheng didn't seem to feel any pain. After taking 2 hits, he grabbed the throats of 2 monks. In the blink of an eye, the 2 monks' faces turned black and they lost their lives. When Wang Lan arrived, he saw Han Cheng release the 2 monks and grin evilly at the remaining 3 people. Wang Lan's figure flashed, and he instantly appeared in front of Han Cheng. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw dozens of corpses behind Han Cheng. In an instant, Wang Lan's face became gloomy. Another one has come to die. Han Cheng's hands turned into claws and grabbed at Wang Lan's throat. A light flashed in front of his eyes. Wang Lan used both hands to form a sword, and a sword chi slashed across Han Cheng's hands, cutting them off. As his hands fell, Han Cheng's expression became sluggish. The 3 monks beside him were shocked and ecstatic. "You killed all these people? You got guts. Ha ha! So you're a Takashi Hoshi. I haven't killed a Takashi Hoshi yet." Han Cheng, who had his hands cut off, didn't show any fear. Instead, he became even more excited, as if the arms didn't belong to him. Sure enough, in an instant, the severed arms returned to Han Cheng's hands. Han Cheng twisted his wrists, and a playful smile appeared on his face. "I have an immortal body. I won't die." Wang Lan looked at the guy in front of him with a puzzled expression. This person's demeanor was crazy and his actions were exaggerated. What was even stranger was that this person didn't have any star energy fluctuations around him. There was only a kind of dense, distorted, mist-like aura. This fog-like thing seemed to be able to replace star power, but it was definitely not star power. Wang Lan flashed again and appeared beside Han Cheng. He pressed his palm on Han Cheng's head, and the Thunder Seal's astral power poured in. But Wang Lan's expression changed instantly. "You don't have astral energy or a star palace. Are you a Takashi Hoshi? Who told you that I have to be a Takashi Hoshi? Could it be that Takashi Hoshi was the only one with power? This is the immortal body bestowed upon me by the true ancestor. What Buddha? What God? They're all trash. They're all liars. Only the true ancestor is real. If he says he's going to give me life, he's going to give me life. If he says he's going to give me eternal life, he's going to give me eternal life." As he spoke, Han Cheng waved his arms wildly, trying to break free from Wang Lan's restraints. Because Han Cheng hadn't awakened the Takashi Hoshi talent and didn't have a star palace, Wang Lan's Thunder Seal didn't work. However, Han Cheng's strength was at most at the level of someone who had just awakened the Takashi Hoshi talent. He couldn't pose a threat to Wang Lan. Wang Lan had seen the scene of Han Cheng's arm regenerating earlier. After pondering for a moment, Wang Lan sent a sword beam towards Han Cheng's throat. Originally, he had intended to force Han Chung away with his sword beam and test if his head was his weakness. But unexpectedly, not only did Han Cheng not dodge, but he also took a step forward and put his head under Wang Lan's sword aura. Wang Lan's sword aura swept past with a whoosh, and Han Cheng's huge head flew into the sky. This scene made Wang Lan's expression change slightly. This Han Cheng was really a noob. Not only was he an ordinary person, but he also hadn't even undergone combat training. Even a beginner fighting enthusiast could easily dodge this sword, but Han Cheng didn't even have the awareness to dodge. When Han Cheng's head flew into the sky, Wang Lan felt a wave of regret. He even forgot to ask about the true ancestor. Han Cheng's headless corpse slowly fell, and his head rolled on the ground. Wang Lan walked over to the corpse. Just as he was about to squat down to study Han Cheng's body, the corpse suddenly disappeared. Wang Lan was instantly alert, and he released his psychic power to sense everything around him. Soon, the space distorted, and a figure appeared beside Wang Lan. Han Cheng, who was unharmed, laughed wildly. "Ha! I'm immortal. I really can't die. Boy, even if you're a powerful Takashi Hoshi, you can't kill me. Ha." Wang Lan frowned. Of course, he knew that it was impossible to have a real immortal body. Wang Lan also had the ability to regenerate. He also had the ability to quickly recover from injuries, and he could not die even if his head was cut off. But these came at a price. Wang Lan, as a top Takashi Hoshi, couldn't achieve immortality. You, a guy who wasn't even a Takashi Hoshi, deserve it? Wang Lan slowly stretched out his hand, and the Zanpakuto appeared in Wang Lan's hand. The Zanpakuto was not only a treasure sword that could cut iron like mud, but it was also a divine weapon that could directly attack the soul. Boy, you're a Takashi Hoshi. Do you want to believe in the true ancestor? As long as you can cut off the fetters and be ruthless, you can get an immortal body by killing people. Anyway, Buddhism says that people in this world are sinners. They were born to suffer to pay for the sins of their previous lives. Ruthless? Cut off the fetters? How do I cut it off? How else can I cut it off? Buddhism says that a monk has no friends, no fame, and no profit. You are so young, you should still have parents, right? As long as you kill them, I can be your referral and let you get an immortal body. Kill my parents? Hearing this, Wang Lan's eyes instantly became cold. You killed them. Ha ha ha. Hi, your mother. A cold light flashed, and Wang Lan cut off Han Cheng's shoulder in front of him. Looking at his shoulder falling from his body, Han Cheng's face showed an impatient smile. I told you that I won't. No matter what you do to me, I won't feel any pain, and I won't be hurt. As he spoke, his shoulder returned to Han Cheng's body, as if he had never been injured. Han Cheng may not know how powerful Wang Lan is, but Wang Lan knows that even a Star Sea Realm's elemental transformation can't bear the Zanpakuto. Not only does it cut the body, but it also directly attacks the soul. Han Cheng recovered without any injury. Obviously, the Zanpakuto did not attack his soul. Does Han Cheng have no soul at all? Since I can't beat you, and you can't hurt me, then forget it. I'll go first. If you think it through one day, you are welcome to find me. As for how to find me, I believe you have a way. Han Cheng smiled and turned to leave. Wang Lan's palm ignited a raging fire in an instant and directly fanned Han Cheng upside down. The Samadhi True fire instantly spread to Han Cheng's head, and then engulfed Han Cheng's entire body and turned it into a torch. The flames continued to burn, and soon Han Cheng fell like a paper man in the flames and turned into ashes. But strangely, Han Cheng did not scream when he was burned by the flames and finally burned to ashes. The Samadhi True fire burned very fast. Even a huge beast hundreds of meters tall could be burned to ashes in dozens of seconds. In a few seconds, Han Cheng was burned to ashes. Then suddenly, the ashes in front of him disappeared, and an intact Han Cheng appeared behind him. Even the clothes on his body were not damaged at all. Could it be an ability like Izanagi's? If it's just an immortal body, there's no reason for even the clothes on his body to be immortal. But Han Cheng didn't even have a heart, It's impossible for him to use Takashi Hoshi. Wang Lan continued to burn with Red Lotus Hellfire, Netherworld Ghost Fire, and so on, and used the Zanpakuto to dismember and torture him again and again. Even if a person has no sense of pain and an immortal body, experiencing death again and again can drive a normal person crazy. Anyway, Han Chung began to become manic and perverted after dying 7 or 8 times, and he moved to the edge of the cliff step by step, trying to jump off the cliff to escape. And every time Wang Lan appeared, he used all kinds of cruel methods to cut him. This scene, in the eyes of the monks of Hanming Temple, was somewhat uncomfortable. Even if they were immersed in grief and anger, watching Han Chung being cut to death by Wang Lan again and again, they couldn't help but think of a classic advertising slogan. If you're my brother, come and cut me. Just like that, Han Chung was constantly being chopped and chopped. He didn't understand. Since you know you can't cut me to death, why do you waste the effort? I've finally escaped. After reviving once, Han Chung instantly jumped off the cliff. And the next scene must be that he directly fell off the cliff and then successfully resurrected. But just as a happy smile appeared on his face, Wang Lan's figure appeared beside Han Chung. Han Cheng's eyes were full of fear, and there was a panic in his eyes that couldn't be dispelled. Wang Lan's Zanpakuto attacked again, and a happy lightning sword mark flashed, and Han Cheng's body instantly disintegrated into a pile of minced meat in the air. Minced meat fell from the sky, and Wang Lan's figure also disappeared in an instant. Wang Lan also flew down the cliff with Han Cheng's falling body. The reason why Wang Lan killed Han Chung so many times was to analyze the mystery of Han Cheng's immortal body. After all, an ordinary person who can't die and has infinite strength is difficult to deal with, and an immortal Takashi Hoshi will be a cheat that will destroy the balance. No ability can be reborn without paying a price. Han Cheng's immortal body must have a very simple flaw, but this flaw has not been discovered for the time being. The minced meat of Han Chung in front of him disappeared, and Han Cheng's figure reappeared in the blink of an eye, and then Han Chung fell straight on the hard stone at the foot of the mountain, shattering into pieces. Killed a mutant life form. Reward: 100 experience points, 10 skill points. It's been a long time since he heard so little skill points and experience points. Wang Lan was stunned for a moment. But in the next moment, Wang Lan's eyes flashed, and his figure turned into catkins and slowly fell from the sky. After landing, he glanced at Han Cheng's body that had fallen into a pile of meat. This time, he waited for a full 5 minutes, but he didn't resurrect. He was killed again and again, and resurrected again and again. And this time he fell to his death, but he didn't resurrect? Is this the reason? No, it's definitely not the reason. Han Cheng's ability is to change the death itself, not the way of death. Wang Lan instantly denied his conjecture about Han Cheng's ability. But why did Han Chung suddenly fall to his death? This time is no different from the previous one. Could it be that the true ancestor behind Han Chung thought that Han Chung didn't have the ability to escape, so he directly took away his immortal body? If so, it's very difficult to find a mastermind behind Han Cheng's death. The other party has absolute control over their people. Chapter 541. Slowly ascending the cliff. The brothers of the Heavenly Sword Bureau had arrived. This time, it was not only Li Gu, but also Zhang Yeqiu. Zhang Yeqiu was slightly surprised to see Wang Lan coming up from the bottom of the cliff. I say, greedy wolf, why do we always meet you? No wonder you're the mascot of the Heavenly Sword Bureau. Your luck is as good as your reputation. Sister Chiu, don't tease me. The murderer is really strange. I can't kill him. I've just learned from the masters in the temple. It's really strange. By the way, where is the murderer now? Why didn't you catch him? Don't tell me he ran away from you? He fell to his death. He was smashed into pieces and couldn't be picked up. I had to put in a basin. How did he die again? Zhang Yeqiu asked in surprise. I don't have an answer to this question. Maybe the true ancestor behind him felt that the chances of him escaping were not high, so he gave up on him. Do you have any progress on your side? This person is called Han Chung. He's an entrepreneur in Sioux City. mainly in the seafood business. He has hundreds of ships under his name and is quite devout to Buddhism. Today, he should have come to Hanming Temple to offer incense and donated more than 3 million yuan. Then, he was invited to the meditation room for enlightenment. But who knew that he would suddenly kill people? In the words of Buddhism, he failed to become a Buddha and was turned into a devil. He said that there was a true ancestor, which means that he didn't become a demon on his own accord. Also, today's commotion at the temple should be premeditated. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken out a few million yuan, and he wouldn't have been invited to the inner hall because of this. Although Hanming Temple is not big, it is very famous in the Buddhist temple. Such a thing happening at Hanming Temple will definitely alarm the entire Buddhist sect. The mastermind behind the scenes may have this purpose. By the way, we also found a clue from the medical system. Han Sheng was diagnosed with a terminal illness half a year ago. This terminal illness can't be treated with gene medicine, and the condition has deteriorated very seriously. After listening to Li Gu and Zhang Yeqiu's words, Wang Lan couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Terminal illness, rich family, unfair fate, immortal body? With all these conditions added together, it would be easy to create a transaction storyline. Demon's Law? Report: a total of 36 monks of the Hanming Temple were killed. 20 of them were martial monks. Got it. Send someone down to retrieve Han Cheng's body. Also, send someone to investigate Han Cheng's recent whereabouts, interpersonal relationships, and so on. Anyway, the more detailed the better. I want to know what he did at a certain time of the month, what he saw at a certain place, what he said, and so on. Yes. Wait. How many people do you think were killed in Hanming Temple? Reporting 36th place. Wang Lan took a deep breath. Did I guess wrong? What did you guess wrong? I always thought that Han Sheng fell to his death because the true ancestor behind the scenes saw that he had no hope of escaping and gave up on him. However, Han Sheng killed 36 people from Hanming Temple, and I killed him 40 times. On the 41st time, he fell to his death. That still doesn't match. Zhang Yeqiu asked doubtfully. No, before he came to Hanming Temple, he might have had several lives. He killed 36 people, and I killed him 40 times. These two numbers are very close. The cause of death of the people killed by Han Sheng was very strange. There was no sign of any wound, and no cause of death could be found. From the appearance, there is no clue as to the cause of death. It needs to be examined by a professional forensic doctor. At this moment, Li Ji's phone rang. Li Ji's expression changed when he picked up the phone. After a while, he put down the phone. Hanming Temple and White Horse Temple were both attacked, and the attacker's killing method was similar to Han Cheng's. At that time, Hanming Temple and White Horse Temple were also crowded with tourists, but the two only killed the monks and did not attack the tourists. After the Heavenly Sword Bureau arrived, they all jumped off the cliff and escaped. More than 30 people from Hanming Temple were killed, and more than 20 people from White Horse Temple were killed. As for the tourists, only 3 people accidentally fell off the cliff and died. In that case, Sister Chio's speculation may be correct. The mastermind's goal is the Buddhist sect, especially today, which is a special day, Sakyamuni's birthday. The Buddhist sect has been very low-key for so many years, and the closer the demon's invasion is to the front, the more low-key they become. Wang Lan and the others immediately rushed to Hanming Temple. Hanming Temple was a mess, and the Heavenly Sword Bureau was organizing the evacuation of the tourists. Compared to Hanming Temple, the monks in Hanming Temple died in all kinds of miserable ways. They were either dismembered or beaten until their brains were splattered. They were too ruthless, and the style is completely different. Wang Lan looked at the bodies of the killed monks for a long time and sighed. What kind of force is it? Our brothers fought with them. How could they escape? Li Gu reprimanded the brother, leading the team from the side. The team leader's strength has already reached the peak of the Nebula Realm. If the ambusher's strength is at the same level as Han Cheng's, then a peak Nebula Realm can definitely stop him. Captain, we really didn't expect this. They had no astral power fluctuations, just like ordinary people. I saw him run out in a panic and thought he was a victim. But who knew? Who knows? As a Takashi Hoshi, where's the most basic vigilance? Have you been away from the battlefield for so long that you've forgotten what a real battlefield is and what it's like to be immersed in it? Liga, forget it. Don't reprimand them. It's obvious that Hanming Temple, White Horse Temple, and Hanming Temple were planned by the same group of people. We don't have information on the killers of Hanming Temple and White Horse Temple, but we do have information on Hanming Temple. Let's go and check Han Cheng's house. Wang Lan, Li Gu, and the others hurried to Han Cheng's villa on the east side of the lake. No one lived in the villa, and it was very clean. From the storage of bowls, chopsticks, and clothes, there should be at least 5 people living in the villa. But from the tidiness of the room, the other 4 people's daily necessities were put away. Including the hostess dressing table, it was clean and empty. Captain, we found a case report. Prion infection. Li Gu frowned and then shook his head. This kind of ghost hiding among humans was indeed very scary. So far, there was no medicine that could cure it. Once he was infected, he would die no matter what. Also, there's a paternity test here. The test results show that Han Bin and Han Sheng are not biological father and son. It's a tragedy. He's terminally ill, and his only son is not his. It's too tragic. Captain, we found a secret room. In fact, it couldn't be considered a secret room. It was just a basement under the villa. There were originally 3 floors underground, but the 3rd floor was sealed with cement and became a secret room. The Brothers of the Heavenly Sword Bureau chiseled open the secret room, and a strong stench rushed out. Smelling this smell, Wang Lan and the others' faces suddenly changed. This was the smell of corpses. After the smell dissipated, Wang Lan and the others turned on the lights of the 3rd floor underground, and then they were stunned by the scene in front of them. There were 4 rotting corpses inside, and one of them was a woman in a kneeling position in a posture of repentance. 2 old men were hanged on the beam of the house, and one of them was a young man who was cut beyond recognition. The dense wounds on his body were like modified knife flowers. Looking at the 4 corpses in front of him, Wang Lan sighed softly. The secret of Han Cheng's immortality is how many people he killed. The more people he killed, the more lives he had. In Hanming Temple, he killed 36 people, and I killed him 40 times. On the 41st time, he felt his death. I thought that the true ancestor behind the scenes took away his ability, but I didn't expect it to be like this. This is Han Cheng's father-in-law and mother-in-law, as well as his wife and children. Han Cheng's father died when he was very young, and his mother also died when he was in college. His relatives avoided him when he was down, and after Han Sheng made a fortune, he naturally didn't interact with his relatives. So the only people important to Han Sheng in this world are his wife and children. Zhang Yeqiu, who collected information from the wireless terminal, walked over and said faintly, Han Sheng and his wife have always been a model couple, and everyone in the circle knows that the 2 of them are very loving. Han Sheng also often goes to public places with his wife, and the last time he went to the mall was a month ago. According to the analysis of the expression analysis, Han Sheng's smile was very natural and not a forced smile. At that time, Han Sheng still loved his wife very much. In other words, Han Sheng later learned that he was deceived. Then he took his son to do a paternity test and learned that his son was not his biological son. After that, he completely turned evil, believed in his true ancestor, and killed his own relatives? Wang Lan asked solemnly. Why can't he be a member of that evil organization? Li Gu asked. Maybe he used to be a subordinate of the true ancestor, but he never showed it. No, when I fought with Han Sheng, he said that he was willing to introduce me to the true ancestor. And as long as I cut off the fetters of the mortal world as a sign of allegiance, I would be recognized by the true ancestor and be granted an immortal body. This means that if you want to join, you must first kill your relatives as a blood sacrifice. Han Cheng's transformation from turning evil to joining the demon sect, and from a human to a monster, took only a month. After leaving Han Cheng's house and returning to the Heavenly Sword Bureau, the Heavenly Sword Bureau immediately searched around Han Cheng's surroundings. Han Sheng was the owner of a seafood business, so his social circle was very large. It was not easy to find out where Han Chung came in contact with a true ancestor from his social circle. And even if the true ancestor came to find him, he had countless ways to avoid being tracked. Ji Qianqian's best friend just came to take a statement and told me a detail. She knew that Han Cheng's child was not actually Han Cheng's. 16 years ago, Ji Qianqian had a boyfriend behind her family's back. However, Ji Qianqian's parents did not agree, and someone introduced her to Han Chung. At that time, Ji Qianqian was blinded by love, and her best friend advised her to abort the child, but Ji Qianqian insisted on giving birth to the child. Soon, Ji Qianqian and Han Chung got together and married. After that, Ji Qianqian and Han Chung gradually developed feelings for each other, and Ji Qianqian once regretted not listening to her best friend. However, the child was already born, and Han Chung also thought that the child was his biological son, so he kept this time bomb. But how did Han Chung find out about this secret? All these years, Ji Qianqian was dead set on Han Chung, and if it was not for the paternity test, Han Chung would not have suspected Ji Qianqian. Chapter 542. You're saying that the person who knows this secret is likely to be the one who set Han Chung up. Yes, you'll need to continue investigating. Now we can be sure that there's a true ancestor in the dark who can turn ordinary people into monsters. That true ancestor has a grudge against Buddhism. Why do I feel like it's related to the Black-Robed Man? The Black-Robed Man slaughtered the entire museum to steal a Buddha statue. Could the Black-Robed Man be the true ancestor? Or is the Black-Robed Man also one of the true ancestor's pawns? If the Black-Robed Man is just a pawn, then I can't imagine how powerful the mastermind behind this is. Why would such a powerful mastermind use ordinary people? This night enveloped Sioux City. Under the lights, Sioux City was so glorious. Wang Lan left the Heavenly Sword Bureau and walked home. Now the main thing was to wait for the Heavenly Sword Bureau's investigation results and test report. This time, the murderer left too many clues. Wang Lan believed that the murderer would definitely reveal some clues. From the Cold Smoke Temple to the White Horse Temple, he was busy until dusk. Now the main thing was to wait for the Heavenly Sword Bureau's investigation results and test report. This time, the murderer left too many clues. Wang Lan believed that the murderer would definitely reveal some clues. After returning home, Jiang Xinyu called. Huang Jinqi wanted Wang Lan to go to her house for dinner. Since everyone knew that the window paper had been opened, it was only natural that he was asked to go for dinner. Jiang Xinyu's father rarely left work and went home early. Huang Jinqi looked at Wang Lan like a mother-in-law looking at her son-in-law. The more she looked at him, the more satisfied she was. Jiang Mingyu, on the other hand, sat up straight when he saw Wang Lan. This feeling made Wang Lan feel that their identities were reversed. He, Wang Lan, had become a father-in-law. However, Jiang Mingyu couldn't be blamed for this. Jiang Mingyu and Wang Ling didn't have a good personal relationship. They had only met a few times. But now, he knew that Wang Ling was the famous Southern Yin Emperor, and Wang Lan was the famous Greedy Wolf. He was the son of a Yin Emperor and the titled Greedy Wolf. Moreover, he was the youngest major general of the Jade State. What kind of status was that? Because Huang Jinqi had a personal relationship with Wang Ling, she had also watched Wang Lan grow up. Therefore, no matter how powerful Wang Lan's identity was in Huang Jinqi's eyes, Wang Lan was still the child who was only half a year old and would groan when he peed or pooped. He usually didn't cry or make a fuss. Needless to say, Jiang Xinyu was his childhood sweetheart. No matter how dazzling Wang Lan's identity was, he was still the same old Wang Lan. But Jiang Mingyu couldn't. Although he was now Jiang Mingyu's father-in-law, he always felt pressured in front of Wang Lan. This made Wang Lan feel very embarrassed. Ring! His phone rang. Wang Lan looked at it and saw that it was Hu Fei. Hello, Brother Lan. Come to the hospital quickly. My brother is dying. Don't cry. I'll be there soon. The people at the table heard Wang Lan's call and quickly put down their chopsticks. Uncle, Annie Huang, I'm sorry. I have to go first. Sorry. Who's in trouble? Jiang Xinyu quickly stood up to send him off. Hu Qing, do you need my help? No, I'm going to the hospital to save a life. Wang Lan rushed out of the window and went straight to the first hospital in the city. At this moment, the hospital was bustling with people. Many guards appeared in the hospital. Hu Qing was now the deputy director of the Sioux City Police Division. He was the director with real power. Moreover, the director was about to retire. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that after the director retired, Hu Qing would be Hu Qing. However, Hu Qing was suddenly seriously injured and his life was in danger while investigating a small case. The people who came were wearing all kinds of masks. Some sincerely hoped that Hu Qing could recover. Some were just putting on an act, and some wanted to see if Hu Qing would die and give up his position. Hu Feifei hugged her sister-in-law and kept comforting her, but before she could say anything, she was already sobbing. Hu Feifei's relationship with her brother was extraordinary. She recalled how Hu Qing looked when she saw him. An endless fear spread in her mind. His chest was open, and the flesh on his chest was gone. With such an injury, no one could save him, right? Hu Feifei raised her head from time to time to look at the stairs, hoping to see Wang Lan's figure. In this world, the only person who could save Hu Qing was Wang Lan. In the emergency room beside her, the light in the operation room was still on. Hu Feifei was praying that the light would not go out because she knew that Hu Qing's injuries were definitely not something that the doctors in the hospital could stabilize. Where's Hu Qing? A voice sounded in Hu Feifei's ear. Hu Feifei hurriedly raised her head. When she saw Wang Lan, she could not help but burst into tears. Brother Lan, he's in the emergency room. Sir, you can't go in. Bang. The door of the operating room was knocked open. Wang Lan rushed in front of the operating table and saw that it was Hu Qing, who was on the verge of death. There were 6 doctors around him, but all of them were at a loss and did not know where to start. How could they do it? His chest was open, and most of his organs were damaged. Some of them had disappeared. How could they save him? Even if they sutured him, there was a large piece of flesh missing from his chest. It was impossible to seal it. There was no time to hesitate. Wang Lan instantly threw out a life aura. After being engulfed by the life aura, Hu Qing's body recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. This scene was happening right before their eyes. The group of doctors did not even have time to react. Sir, are you a medical Takashi Hoshi? How miraculous! This is a true resurrection of flesh and bones. If only the medical Takashi Hoshi could work on a normal person. Seeing Hu Qing's injuries heal at a speed visible to the naked eye, a doctor exclaimed in surprise. Under the effects of the life aura, even a head could be successfully regrown. A minute later, the damaged organs in the open chest rapidly regrown. Then, the chest began to recover. After about 3 minutes, Hu Qing's injuries were completely healed. Letting out a pained groan, Hu Qing slowly opened his eyes. The dazzling white light of the operating table shone on his face. Hu Qing's eyes were dazed. Am I going to heaven after dying? Click. The operating light turned off. A voice sounded. Sorry, this is the human world. Seeing Wang Lan's face, Hu Qing's face was filled with astonishment. Then, he quickly revealed a bitter smile. Looks like you saved my life again. Why are you still lying down if you're not going to die? Why aren't you getting up? Wang Lan reached out and pulled Hu Qing up. As Hu Qing's clothes were soaked with blood, he borrowed a hospital gown and walked out of the operating room with Wang Lan. Seeing Hu Qing walk out unscathed, the crowd quickly surrounded him. At the same time, many people glanced at Wang Lan from time to time. Many people saw how Hu Qing was when he was sent to the hospital. The fact that he was still alive only proved that Hu Qing's vitality as a Takashi Hoshi was relatively strong. However, no one thought that Hu Qing could survive this ordeal. After all, his injuries were so serious. At most, it would be delayed by 10 to 20 minutes. However, in just a few seconds, Hu Qing could walk out alive and well. Who is this young man? Okay, I'm fine. Don't be nervous. Let's go out and talk. After all, this is a hospital. It's not good to be noisy, Hu Qing quickly said. By the way, let me introduce you. This is the youngest title battle pet warrior in Jade State. His title is Greedy Wolf. Oh, so this is Sioux City's Greedy Wolf. I've heard a lot about you. Greetings, Your Majesty, Greedy Wolf. The crowd that was surrounding Hu Qing suddenly surrounded Wang Lan. They were all enthusiastic, as if they were crazy fans who had seen their idol. If one were to say that they worshipped Wang Lan, that was absolutely impossible. The attraction of Wang Lan's identity to them was like the attraction of a flame to a moth. Taking advantage of this, Hu Qing went to his wife and sister to comfort them. Xiao Ling suddenly burst into mournful emotions. She kept hitting Hu Qing's chest. This scene made everyone feel as if a stone was stuck in their chests. After comforting his wife, Hu Qing finally had time to tell Wang Lan what had happened. I was careless, and I failed miserably. Hu Qing sighed. At dusk today, a family massacre happened in Sioux City's Lianhua. A family of 5 was hacked to death with a kitchen knife. The murderer was the family's son-in-law. He was an honest programmer. We received the report and rushed to the scene. Soon, we found the suspect. Using the city's Skynet, we found Cha Xingming's last active area. Finally, we found him on a riverbank. I saw him standing by the river. I thought he was going to jump into the river, so I hurried to stop him. In the end, Cha Xingming jumped into the river. I hurried to jump in after him, but I didn't expect to fall into the river. Is there something wrong with Cha Xingming? It's more than just a problem. He's turned into an octopus-like monster, Hu Qing said with lingering fear. In the water, Cha Xingming suddenly turned into an octopus-like monster. The tentacles on his body turned into sharp blades. You know, I'm not good at water battles, and I wasn't prepared before. I was hit by such a sudden attack and was stunned. This is the excuse you, a master at the peak of Nebula, was cut open by a programmer and almost had your organs dug out like a fish in fish soup? You said he turned into an octopus-like monster? Can you draw it? Wang Lan asked with a smile on her face. Of course, no problem. When the two returned to the superintendent, Hu Qing immediately took out a pen and paper and began to draw quickly. Hu Qing was indeed a soul painter. It was a black tentacle monster that couldn't be looked at directly. Are you sure the thing you drew and the thing you saw that almost killed you are the same thing? It's more or less like this. It's not a human anyway. No matter how much I draw, it's not like you can tell what it looks like. Did Cha Xingming become like this? Or did this thing wrap him up like this? This. Hu Qing's eyes grew serious. He rubbed his chin and thought for a while. Finally, he shook his head. I'm not sure, but it seems to have been wrapped up like this. The moment I fell into the water, I thought I saw Cha Xingming's face, but he quickly turned into this strange thing. Also, I don't think his attack was some Takashi Hoshi technique. There were no fluctuations of astral power. These tentacles also seemed to be alive. Could it be an alien invasion on Sky Blue? We haven't even figured out the demons yet. How could there be an alien invasion? But recently, an underground force has appeared in Sioux City. They can make normal people stronger. Hu Qing, have you sorted out Cha Xingming's information? Chapter 543. The two of them arrived at the police station. Although Hu Qing was seriously injured, the police station was still running. After Hu Qing asked for Cha Xingming's information, the team members quickly brought over a stack of information. Gather the team in the conference room. Hu Qing ordered. Brothers, this is a picture of the crime scene. There are a total of 5 victims. The first victim was in Cha Xingming's room. She was Cha Xingming's wife, Zhang Li. Cha Xingming had one hand around his wife's neck, and the other hand used a switchblade to stab Zhang Li in the abdomen. Zhang Li was stabbed dozens of times and died. The positions of the stabs were very even, and the wounds were not too close together. This means that the murderer was very calm when he was dealing with the new brothers. He stabbed them one by one, and even specifically aimed for the position of the stabs. The scene was as tragic as a battlefield. The victims were 2 old people, a middle-aged woman and a young man in his 20s. The elderly couple and their son and daughter. After Cha Xingming killed his wife, he walked into the kitchen. Zhang Li's mother was cooking in the kitchen. Cha Xingming picked up the kitchen knife and slashed at Zhang Li's mother's head. When he killed Zhang Li's mother, Zhang Li's father and younger brother were alerted. Zhang Li's father had broken his leg a while ago, so he was the third person to be killed by Cha Xingming. Zhang Li's younger brother was 22 years old and unemployed. Logically speaking, he was in his prime and should have been able to fight with Cha Xingming for a while. There was indeed a fifth person's blood at the scene. The amount of blood was very large. Blood analysis showed that the neck artery had been pierced and the blood was Cha Xingming's. Based on this inference, Zhang Li's younger brother should have won. However, Zhang Li's younger brother was still killed. When we found Cha Xingming, he did not show any signs of injury. After Cha Xingming killed the people, he changed his clothes and left under the surveillance camera without any intention of hiding his tracks. After that, it was what happened after Chief who found Cha Xingming. Now we can infer that Cha Xingming is not an ordinary person. Since he could hurt Chief Hu, it means that he is at least as strong as Nebula. Then, Cha Xingming is definitely not what we found out. He is just an ordinary programmer. He hid his strength and identity. He must have other motives. Motives? What motives? To kill your entire family? Hu Qing tapped on the table and asked indifferently. Chief Hu, we think that he killed his entire family in passing. Perhaps his incubation period is over, so he killed all the people who bullied him all these years. By the way, I have Jia Xingming's life experience here. Jia Xingming, from Jiang Province Wine City, was admitted to Sioux City University in 2014. In 2018, he met his wife, Zhang Li, while working at Sioux City University. After dating for a while, he became the son-in-law of the Zhang family. She learned from the neighbors that Cha Xingming had no dignity in the Zhang family. Zhang Li often yelled at Cha Xingming. Although Cha Xingming had a monthly salary of more than 10,000 yuan, in the eyes of the Zhang family, he seemed to be the poor kid who had just graduated a few years ago. The Zhang family also often said that Cha Xingming was the son-in-law of the Zhang family. They often made Cha Xingming lose face in front of their neighbors and relatives. Cha Xingming gave people the impression that he was a quiet and honest man, but they never thought that this honest man was actually a wolf in disguise. Hearing the guard's words, Wang Lan couldn't help but frown. Cha Xingming is a wolf? Is it possible that because the Zhang family bullied Cha Xingming all these years and trampled on his dignity, Cha Xingming became a butcher who picked up a butcher's knife? This should be impossible. Cha Xingming's behavior is obviously not human. This means that he was originally. Hu Qing suddenly interrupted his subordinate's words and looked at Wang Lan curiously. You don't seem to be surprised by Cha Xingming's change. Cha Xingming is not a Takashi Hoshi. He is just an ordinary person, but he strangely gained power and killed his entire family in a cruel and bloodthirsty way. You don't seem surprised? Do you know something? Just this morning, I went to Hanming Temple to play, but I happened to run into a case. Hanming Temple's homicidal maniac incident. Although this case that happened in Hanming Temple, Hanyin Temple, and White Horse Temple was taken over by the Heavenly Sword Bureau, the superintendent of Sioux City still cared about it. Yes, I was at Hanming Temple. The murderer was a rich man named Han Cheng. He was just an ordinary person before, but he suddenly gained infinite power and an immortal body. I learned from him that there was a true ancestor above him. His power was given to him by the true ancestor. The price to pay for gaining power was to kill one's family and cut off the fetters of the mortal world. Han Cheng was also a person who despaired of the world. His family was rich, but unfortunately, he was infected with a terminal disease and could only wait for death. His only son was not his biological son. After thinking that the world was absurd and deceptive, he killed his father-in-law, mother-in-law, wife, and son in exchange for the true ancestor's power. I think Cha Xingming and Han Cheng are in the same situation. Years of oppression have caused their hearts to be distorted and they despaired of the world. There is such a thing, so the person behind the scenes should be the true ancestor. Wang Lan, do you have any further clues? The Hanming Temple case just broke out today. Your case broke out at dusk. There may be a lot of clues, but they haven't been sorted out yet. It's best for your case to be transferred to the Heavenly Sword Bureau. The power behind it is not ordinary. Director Who, this is the information report from the evidence department. The traces of struggle, blood, and messed up furniture in Zhang Li's house are very consistent with the development of the case. However, why would Cha Xingming suddenly kill his family? His motive may be related to Tao Yong. Tao Yong? Hu Qing and Wang Lan both exclaimed in surprise. Previously, they only thought that Cha Xingming also believed in the true ancestor. Killing his family was a sign of allegiance to the true ancestor. Yes, because a fragment of Tao Yong was found in Zhang Li and Cha Xingming's room. It should be that the couple quarreled in the room and then smashed Tao Yong in anger. This Tao Yong may be the signal of the conflict. In anger, Cha Xingming stabbed Zhang Li to death. Then, Cha Xingming went all the way to the kitchen. You're saying that the reason Cha Xingming killed his family was because of Tao Yong, or that Zhang Li smashed Tao Yong and caused Cha Xingming to have a murderous heart. Tao Yong was just a fuse. For example, when two armies are at daggers drawn, a cough or a sneeze can cause the two armies to suddenly fight. Maybe because of this Tao Yong shattering, Cha Xingming lost his mind for a moment. What Tao Yong? Let me see. Soon, the piece Tao Yong was sent to Wang Lan. This Tao Yong was only the size of a palm. It looked like a statue of some god, but he couldn't tell what god it was. Maybe at that time, Cha Xingming already had the intention to kill, and then Tao Yong's shattering triggered Cha Xingming's anger. That night, Zhang Li's sister and brother-in-law rushed to Sioux City. Before they reached the door, they were picked up by the police. They immediately questioned Zhang Xian, and sure enough, they found out some details. What's wrong with Cha Xingming recently? The two of us are in Shanghai and rarely go home. I really don't know what's wrong with Cha Xingming. But my sister and Cha Xingming have been quarreling recently. I heard from my sister that Cha Xingming has been coming back very late recently. My sister even suspected that Cha Xingming was having an affair. Later, she secretly followed him. But in the end, she found that Cha Xingming was addicted to night fishing. He came back very late every night to go fishing. What's your impression of Cha Xingming? Wang Lan asked again. Cha Xingming is a man of few words, but his silence is just his introverted character, not gloomy. To be honest, I still don't believe that Cha Xingming could do such a thing. Zhang Xian said objectively. From her expression, it seemed that she couldn't stand Zhang Li being so harsh to her husband. By the way, my sister called me a few days ago and said that she suspected that Cha Xingming was having an affair outside and that brother Jiang, who was night fishing with him, might be a pimp. My sister told me that once when we were eating, Cha Xingming received a call from brother Jiang. As a result, he immediately got up and left. He didn't give face to my parents at all and didn't say a word. Because of this, my sister and Cha Xingming had a big quarrel. At that time, I advised my sister to be considerate of Cha Xingming. Brother Jiang? When did you know him? I don't know. Maybe we met when we were night fishing. When did Cha Xingming become addicted to night fishing? Was it recently? About a month ago. He used to come back at 6 or 7 o'clock. But since last month, he suddenly came back very late every day. After asking someone to take Zhang Xian to rest, Wang Lan and Hu Qing discussed it together. A person who is addicted to fishing should be a gradual thing. There was no reason for him to fall in love with it all of a sudden. Moreover, Cha Xingming was just an ordinary person before, so he should be in the same situation as Han Cheng. His life was depressed, and he was desperate about the world. He used fishing to avoid being embarrassed by his wife when he came home from work every day. And by chance, he learned that believing in evil gods could give him the power to change his fate. This kind of person who was on the verge of despair would grasp it tightly even if he was given a straw. It seems that we need the superintendent and the Heavenly Sword Bureau to jointly investigate. You can investigate Cha Xingming's social circle. Cha Xingming's social circle is very small. In the past, he had no friends except for his colleagues at work. Now, he has his night fishing circle. Check his contact number and filter his social circle. I'll go back first. The Heavenly Sword Bureau is looking for Han Cheng's social circle. I hope there will be good news tomorrow. Okay, I'll send you off, Hu Qing said as he stood up. You're treating me like an outsider, right? I still need you to send me off. I'm leaving. North of Sioux City, boats were fishing. At the mouth of the Yangtze River, countless boats came and went. A small boat bobbed up and down on the river. A man wearing a ghost mask knelt on the ground devoutly. In the bed cabin of the boat, a strange evil god was enshrined. As the masked man kowtowed devoutly, the evil god statue's eyes suddenly opened. A thick black liquid overflowed from the statue. What did you do? Why did you trigger God's killing intent? Master, I didn't do anything. You didn't do anything? If you didn't do anything, why would God's killing intent? Why don't you tell me the truth? Yesterday, what did you do during the day yesterday? I just took advantage of Sakyamana's birthday to send him a big gift and teach the Buddhist sect a lesson. Yesterday, I've already sent over 100 monks to the Western Paradise. Wang Lan descended from the sky, only to see rows of guards bent over and vomiting to the point of death. Wang Lan, you're finally here. Mother of Asterisk Kerr, you're too freakish. This Jiang Wanyin actually made his parents, wife, and children into a Manchu Han imperial feast. Ugh. Wang Lan couldn't imagine that a person could be so freakish or that he could lose his humanity to such an extent after believing in the true ancestor. In the living room, there was a long banquet table with dozens of different delicacies. These delicacies were beautifully arranged and looked like they came from a big hotel and were made by a senior chef. Because many days had passed, these foods had gone bad and emitted a strong rancid smell. What came into view was the braised feet on the exquisite plates and the barbecued meat on the feet. Every dish was a part of the human body. From the limbs to the ribs to the internal organs, they had all become delicacies that once emitted tempting aroma. What about Jiang Wanyin? There's no news at all? Wang Lan endured the discomfort and walked out to ask. No, he disappeared 7 days ago. But before he disappeared, he asked for leave from the hotel, indicating that he intended to leave. Most of the kitchen in the hotel is hosted by his students, so Jiang Wanyin rarely needs to take action. But when Jiang Wanyin takes action, it's definitely to entertain a very important guest or a peer challenge. According to our investigation, Jiang Wanyin likes fishing very much. He has been fishing for more than 10 years. After asking for leave that day, he went out and avoided the surveillance cameras not long after. He never appeared again. Also, look, Hu Qing took out her phone and opened it. The phone was recording the scene in Jiang Wanyin's bedroom. In the place where the TV wall should have been, there was a statue of a god. This statue was very similar to the statue of Tao Yong found in Cha Xingming's house, or even the same statue. It was just that one was well-made and the other was a cartoonish version. Jiang Wanyin's house also worships this evil god. From this, it can be inferred that he and Cha Xingming are indeed related. The two should have met while fishing, so one of them pulled the other into the water. Wang Lan took a deep breath and nodded. That should be the case. But the most important thing now is, what is this evil god, and why do ordinary people get such a strange amount of power from worshiping it? Whether it's ultra beasts, demons, or us humans, the power system is almost the same. In Cha Xingming and the others seem to belong to another power system. Beep beep. While Wang Lan and Hu Qing were talking, the sound of a horn interrupted them. They looked up and saw a black car slowly driving over. The car stopped, and Li Gu and Zhang Yeqiu walked out of the car. Looks like we're a step too late. Zhang Yeqiu came to Wang Lan and smiled. She reached out and shook Hu Qing's hand in a friendly manner. Sister Xiaoqiu, why are you here too? Did you find Jiang Wanyin too? That's right. The person who attacked Hanyin Temple was indeed Jiang Wanyin after our strict surveillance. Jiang Wanyin and Han Cheng have certain similarities. They both suffer from a very rare disease called sycamore syndrome. This name is a bit of a mouthful, and is very rare in the world. Medical students don't have an effective treatment at the moment, but this disease isn't fatal. It's just that it's very painful when it flares up and the whole body itches unbearably. Then the patient will scratch, and the more he scratches, the more itchy he gets. Jiang Wanyin has been suffering from this disease for almost a year. I learned from his doctor that Jiang Wanyin's disease is now at a critical turning point. Of the 22 people in the world who have this disease, 10 of them have already died. All of them committed suicide. In other words, this disease isn't fatal, but it can make people wish they were dead. We rushed over after we found this. Now it seems that you've also locked onto Jiang Wanyin through another channel. How's the relationship between Jiang Wanyin and his family? Wang Lan asked. They're very harmonious. Those who are familiar with them all said that they've never seen them in conflict. This time, they said that Jiang Wanyin took his family abroad for a vacation. It should be fake, right? Traveling abroad? Huh, they're already out of this world. Hu Qing snorted coldly. Then we can be sure that believing in this evil god requires the sacrifice of one's loved ones. Or rather, only by killing one's loved ones will the evil god believe and accept that person. Their ability is also superimposed on the number of people they kill, and they gain energy through killing. Oh, that's right. Liga suddenly took out a photo and handed it to Wang Lan. This was found in an abandoned house in Han Cheng's hometown. He worshipped an evil god. We've checked the information. This evil god is called Qi Mei. Legend has it that it's a demon of the Cloud Sea generation and was later suppressed by the Buddha. Hearing this, Wang Lan's eyes suddenly lit up. Looking at Li Ji's eyes, Li Go obviously thought of it too. This can be linked together. So it's the same case as the Black-Robed Man. Or is it the Black-Robed Man who's playing tricks? Wang Lan suddenly said. What Black-Robed Man? The one behind the Takashi Hoshi tournament and the massacre of hundreds of people in a museum? The Black-Robed Man who then disappeared without a trace? Yes, it's him. If that's the case, then the so-called true ancestor is the evil god Qi Mei. 3,000 years ago, Qi Mei was suppressed by the Buddha, and the suppression vessel might be the demon-suppressing Buddha statue. Yin Tong had a fortuitous encounter in the Cloud Sea space, and also obtained the demon-suppressing statue that suppressed Qi Mei. Maybe at that time, Qi Mei had already broken free, but it was not completely free. Maybe it was still in the Buddha statue at that time. Then, the Black-Robed Man appeared and took back the demon-suppressing statue and released Qi Mei. Qi Mei bewitched those desperate people, believing in it and becoming its slaves. When those people gained energy and hope, they completely lost their humanity and killed their loved ones. Like Jiang Wanyin, he actually made his loved ones into dozens of dishes. It's simply appalling. Now there's still no news of Jiang Wanyin, and there's no further clues on Han Cheng's side. Just a condition of despair. There are so many people in Sioux City and so many people all over the world who don't live well. Isn't it too difficult to screen from this aspect? Han Cheng, Jiang Wanyin, Cha Shengming, what do they have in common? One was betrayed by his wife. One had a disease worse than death, and one suffered from domestic violence all year round. Isn't the common point that living is torture? No, Han Cheng and Jiang Wanyin are terminally ill. Moreover, Han Cheng and Jiang Wanyin were ordered to attack the temple by the mastermind behind the scenes. They joined the devil cult earlier than Cha Shengming. Although Cha Shengming is also one of them, he just finished killing his whole family and was given power by the true ancestor. Moreover, he met Jiang Wanyin when he was fishing, so he should be Jiang Wanyin's underling. What channel did Qi Mei use to develop believers in the beginning? The hospital. Hu Qing, Li Gu, and Zhang Yechio's eyes suddenly lit up and said in unison. I asked the intelligence department to immediately monitor more than a dozen hospitals in Sioux City and screen out the terminally ill patients. At least, there's still one person's identity that hasn't been confirmed yet. The person who attacked the White Horse Temple. Understood. When they came out of Jiang Wanyin's house, it was almost 12 o'clock. Hu Qing hugged Wang Lan's shoulder and said enthusiastically, Let's go. I'll treat you to a meal. Superintendent's hotel? Forget it. I'm already tired of eating at the superintendent's cafeteria. I'll call Xiaoling. Let's go eat together. You're the one who's tired of eating. I'm not. Besides, you two are going to eat together. Do you want me to be a third wheel? Don't. I really want to treat you to a meal. You just saved my life. Moreover, this scene can't help but remind me of something. What? When we first met, you treated me to a meal. Chapter 545. Ha ha. It's been 4 years already. Yeah, for years. Hu Qing invited them to dinner at Wankai Square, a restaurant with authentic Jiangxi cuisine. It was said that the chairman of the restaurant and Jiang Wanyin were fellow apprentices. Both of them were national top chefs. Hu Qing and Wang Lan toasted each other, while Qin Xiaoling kept texting on her phone. From time to time, she would laugh strangely. Lingling, what's wrong with you? Why are you laughing so strangely? Qing is about to collapse today. I'm comforting her. What's wrong? She received a call this morning and was annoyed by a woman for an entire hour. She almost went crazy. A woman called the police and said that she suspected that her husband was not her husband. Then she listed a series of abnormal signs, and so on. At first, Qing thought that it was a case of impersonation. In the end, Qing suggested that the woman steal a strand of her husband's hair to do a DNA test. The woman said that she had already done the test, and the DNA matched her husband. Qing became vigilant again. She suspected that the demons had taken over her husband's body. She also asked if she was following her husband's whereabouts. She asked if there were any abnormal situations. The woman said that in the past, her husband would obediently kneel in front of the keyboard and wait for his punishment if she glared at him. Now, he ignored her. In the past, her husband would not fool around with women. Now, her husband went to the KTV every day and hugged women on both sides. Qing was about to become a psychologist. I talked to that woman for more than an hour before hanging up. Now, she's asking me for comfort. It's indeed worth being vigilant when a person's temperament changes drastically in a short period of time. Wang Lan said with a serious face. Demons can directly live in human bodies. Traditional DNA tests can't detect it. Other methods, such as taking over someone's body, are impossible to guard against. I think we should pay attention to it and send someone to investigate. Demons will not have sex with human women. Normal demons won't, but I can't guarantee that there won't be demons who sacrifice everything for their beliefs. Okay, I'll send someone this afternoon. Hu Qing picked up his wine glass. Come, Lanzi, let's go. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Wang Lan and Hu Qing returned to the police station. Given Wang Lan's cultivation and Hu Qing's alcohol tolerance, the bottle of wine they drank at noon did not affect them at all. The superintendent led by Hu Qing worked in an orderly manner. The Heavenly Sword Bureau also frequently exchanged information with Wang Lan. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the Heavenly Sword Bureau released the latest information. Han Sheng had been seeing patients in Sioux City's third hospital for the past year. She was pestered by Xinshin again and couldn't come tonight. Wang Lan also didn't understand. Xinyu was so harsh on Xinshin's training, but Xinshin was still so reckless. Didn't she know that Xinyu would be worse when she was in a bad mood? After saying goodnight to Xinyu, Wang Lan put down his phone and went to sleep. He didn't know how long he slept, but he felt like he was in a daze. Suddenly, Wang Lan was awakened by the sound of his phone ringing. He looked at his phone and saw that it was Hu Qing calling. Hello, old Hu, what's so urgent? Cha Shengming made his move again. Wang Lan sat up. You found him? No, he was already gone when I arrived. But this time, Cha Shengming's target is a bit strange. Where are you? I'll come over right away. I'll send someone to pick you up. No, I'll fly over. Send me the coordinates. Wang Lan hung up the phone, changed his clothes, and rushed out of the window. Hu Qing's address was in the White Elephant District, which was 20 kilometers away from Wang Lan's location. For Wang Lan, 20 kilometers was only a few minutes. Under the watchful eyes of the police officers, he slowly landed. When they saw that it was Wang Lan, the police officers put away their guns and let down their guard. The crime scene was in a villa. It seemed like the culprit was rich. Wang Lan stepped into the villa and saw two corpses lying in a pool of blood. It was an old couple. The police officers were taking photos and searching for evidence. Wang Lan, you're here. There are more upstairs, Hu Qing said as he led Wang Lan to the second floor. In the room on the second floor were two naked women. One of them was about 30 years old and had a very good figure and temperament. The other looked young, about 17 or 18 years old. Both women's hands and feet showed signs of being tied up, and there were tear stains on their faces. These two women were strangled after being violated by the murderer. An ID card was left at the scene. It was Cha Xingming's. They've been demonized. Do they still have human desires? Maybe it's not just that. They were just ordinary people before. After demonization, their desires may be greater than before. But why did Cha Xingming attack this family? Cha Xingming has already joined Qi Mei and obtained superhuman strength. When Qi Mei's subordinates attacked the Buddhist sect, it could be speculated that it was because of the grudge between Qi Mei and Sakyamuni. But to attack this family, is there anything special about this family? I haven't found anything yet. It's possible that Cha Xingming was discovered hiding in this house. Now, Cha Xingming is wanted all over the country. Cha Xingming might be afraid of being exposed, so he killed them directly. Then, he violated the two victims. Although it's possible, it's unlikely. Since Cha Xingming has such strength, he should be at least at the peak of star blazing, right? At this level, his survivability is very high. It's unlikely that he's hiding in a house. Moreover, many of the villas in this area are unoccupied all year round. There's so many unoccupied villas, but it doesn't make sense for him to hide in a house with people. Besides, if he was afraid of being exposed, he could have just left instead of doing this. Wouldn't that attract more attention? Chief Hu, we've checked all the cameras in the neighborhood. The target didn't leave. There are cameras at the door of the villa. We can confirm that no suspicious person has entered the villa in the past 7 days. Check more carefully and expand the scope. Maybe the other party used underground travel to sneak into the villa. Chief Hu, we found a strange hole here. It doesn't look like it was there before, another guard said as he ran over. Take me there. Wang Lan followed Hu Qing to the location of the hole. It was a football-sized cave located in a hidden corner of the villa's kitchen. The cave's surroundings were very smooth, as if it had been carefully polished. The cave's stability leaned inward, showing signs of friction from outside to inside. Could it be that the murderer came in from this cave and then left through this cave? I'll go down and take a look, Wang Lan said after some thought. Hu Qing acknowledged Wang Lan's strength, so he nodded. I'll leave it to you. Be careful. Wang Lan's figure disappeared into the ground as if he was diving into water. Tracing the source of the cave was the same as tracing how the biochemical demonized soldiers came to Shanghai. Following the cave, Wang Lan soon discovered the abnormality of the cave. Not only was the mouth of the cave smooth, but the entire tunnel was also very smooth. There were also very obvious signs of friction and compression. Looking at the cave, Wang Lan inexplicably thought of creatures like octopuses. They had no bones all over their bodies and could squeeze their bodies into extremely narrow spaces. This cave was like the nest of a boneless creature. The cave was very long and winding, but there was a very obvious direction. Wang Lan walked along the cave for 7 to 8 kilometers before reaching the end of the cave. It turned out to be a huge reservoir. Wang Lan dived out of the reservoir and quietly came to the shore. At that moment, there were more than a dozen fishing friends with flashlights on the shore. Seeing the fishermen, Wang Lan's mind suddenly moved. The murderer was certain that he had escaped from the reservoir through the cave. Once he entered the reservoir, it would be almost impossible to find any clues. The reservoir was so big that there wouldn't be any evidence or clues left behind. Brother, are you fishing at night? Wang Lan walked forward and greeted them. Yeah, there are so many people fishing here. Do you know them? I can't say that I know them, but they look familiar. This reservoir is open to the public. So many people come here to fish. I have a friend who also likes fishing. The reservoir was so big that he could go ashore from anywhere. It was unlikely that he would be able to continue tracking him. I happened to see these anglers catch a sack, so I called you. Chopping people into pieces and then throwing them into the lake. This murderer's mentality is very steady. All right, leave it to our brothers to handle. I'll go and make some arrangements. Yes. Although the case of fishing out a dismembered corpse from the lake was shocking, it had little to do with the case Wang Lan was currently investigating. Wang Lan just happened to run into it. When Hu Qing came back, Wang Lan followed Hu Qing to the side. Did you find any new clues? There should be 2 murderers. Cha Xingming is one of them. I just extracted the DNA left in the 2 victims and did a test. There are 2 people. One is Cha Xingming, and the other is temporarily unknown. He should be a member of the demon sect. So Cha Xingming's motive is very clear. He didn't kill the family of 4 because of a coincidence. Yes, but I've checked. The family of 4 shouldn't have any connection with Cha Xingming or the demon sect. The elderly couple opened a supermarket. The woman married a local entrepreneur, and the girl was a freshman at Sioux City University. Woo woo woo. The sirens sounded again, and another police car arrived. Several guards got out of the car. Hu Qing's wife, Qin Shaoling, was among them. When Qin Shaoling saw Hu Qing and Wang Lan, Qin Shaoling ran over. Why are you here? We just received a report that a dismembered corpse was found here, so we followed. What about you? Aren't you an office worker? Why did you follow us? You transferred the people in the evidence department away. The bureau is short of manpower, so I was pulled in. Why? Is this case related to your investigation? The dismembered corpse was found by coincidence. It shouldn't be related. Hu Qing smiled. Oh, right. Qin Shaoling suddenly said in a serious tone. You just sent back a message to investigate the identity of the victims of the family massacre, right? Yes, what did you find out? I just checked the information. One of the victims reported a case recently. She's the woman I mentioned during lunch yesterday. She's the one who suspected her husband was not her husband. Instantly, Wang Lan and Hu Qing's expressions changed. There couldn't be such a coincidence in the world. Previously, they didn't understand why this family would be killed. Now that this was the case, everything was clear. Wang Lan and Hu Qing quickly got back into the car. Hu Qing picked up the phone and dialed a number. Investigate the identity of Zhu Meng's husband. Where is he now? Zhu Meng's husband is called Huasijian. He's a private entrepreneur in Sioux City. He owns 3 factories, mainly engaged in the production of plastic products and medical equipment. 6 hours ago, Huasijian checked into a room at the Grand Hyatt Hotel. Send me the address and coordinates.